Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. We got some things we got to talk about, some things that happened last night that we didn't get a chance to talk about, because honestly, I wanted to give Camila Mendoza almost some light under the sun. You know what I mean? I wanted to shed some light on that missing persons case, because we need to talk about those things. There's a lot of missing person cases that are happening right now, all at the same damn time, and actually in the same doggone area. So we need to bring some awareness to the whole thing, okay? Just so you know. But we had to talk about this. We can't miss this. This is absolutely insane. Man, what a live she did last night. Oh my word. What in the hell is going on within these internet streets? It is absolutely insane. I'm just going to say it is absolutely insane. And I don't know. We're going to go through it today, guys. We're going to go through it today on the show. All right? Because there is quite a bit that we need to talk about, because this is just, as you already know, this is insane. And she dropped some new allegations, some new information in here that I think is absolutely knuckin' futz. And we're going to talk about it as well. There's a lot of breadcrumbs, a lot of pieces of information throughout this entire live that she just did. So do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, or hit that follow button, of course. Follow on all those platforms, please and thank you. Do not forget to subscribe here on my YouTube channel. We talk about a lot of things, everything from Facebook, everything from true crime to politics to pop culture and everything smashed in between. We talk about it all right here, okay? So make sure you're subscribed. Subscribe to my other channels, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe to all these three channels. Make sure you hit that notification bell on all platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it's breaking news and it's random. We don't have a set schedule on this show. Not yet, at least. In due time, but not right now. So make sure you do that, okay? Please and thank you. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support the channel if you can. If you want to support even further, go check out my Patreon, okay? Check out my Patreon. It's in the ticker down below. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, yes, we are live. What kind of are we live? Yes, we're live. Dag nabbit. We are mother-loving live, okay? Live as all get out. Live. Okay? Now, here's the thing. There has been a lot of things popping off with Candace Owens. As you guys already know, we've been talking about Candace Owens and her whole search for truth, her quest for truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk. Now, let me say this really quick. Many possibilities of what actually happened to Charlie Kirk. He may have lost his life due to some outside entity, some foreign entity that paid some guy to pull the trigger and take the life of Charlie Kirk. Or he could have had his life taken by some random radicalized person that was in love. Yes, we're talking about love here, guys. Yeah, no. I'm not Diddy's defense team. Okay? This is not a modern age story of love. This is not a modern love story. Okay? It's not. Okay? Let me just say this. You don't go fall in love with somebody and say they're complaining about a particular person or a particular party or whatever, and then you think one day while you're in the shower washing yourself, you say, "Whoa, Eureka, I got a great idea. They're going to love me even more if I go and commit muerte. Just so you know, just don't do that. That's not a good idea. Put it down. Just keep scrubbing yourself, rinse, and go on with your life. Okay? So here's the thing. There's those two options. Either this person, I truly think that they got one of their guys. Do they have everybody? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Who else is involved? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But I damn sure don't think it's just Tyler Robinson and that's it. I really don't think it's just Tyler Robinson. I think he did this with some help. Who could that be? Radicalized group? That's domestic? Could it be the American government? Don't know. Could it be the French? Les poissons? Les fromages? Could it be Israel? Mazel tov? I don't know. I have no clue. But one thing's for sure. Candace Owens has been out here with a lot of theories and a lot of speculation, and she's been throwing everything against the wall just to see what sticks. And honestly, we haven't really seen anything stick yet. I'm going to be honest. Nothing's really stuck, but it's brewing a lot of people's theories. And like I've said a million times before, given the fact that we have not gotten a whole lot of information about how Charlie Kirk, how it came to this moment that Charlie Kirk lost his life, that the lack of information is just rotting everybody's minds. Yes, I said it. I said it. And I've said this a million times. Idle minds are the conspiracists' plaything. And I'll keep saying that until I am blue in the face. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because here's the thing. Yes. The information that we have is minimal. And we've seen on countless cases where people literally go off the freaking rails so much that groups of people start to eat themselves. They start to cannibalize themselves. Look at what's happening right now in MAGA. MAGA's losing their doggone minds. They have lost their minds. In the beginning, they seem to be happy. Like, oh, you MAGA, brother? Well, I'm MAGA too, brother. America, brother. Brother. America. You know what I mean? AK-47s. AR-15s. America, freedom. American music or something. Country music and apple pie and American cheese. America. You America? MAGA, brother. MAGA. You remember that? Remember that time when there was unity? Everybody was getting along. You're white and you like Trump? I'm white too. Yay. And you're just sitting there, just ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy, having a great time, right? Sorry, but that's pretty much what it was. Still is to a certain extent, except they scoop up a few blacks and browns and go, look, see, we're not racist. See, he's black and he likes MAGA. But if you notice now, sorry, it's the truth. I'm sorry. It's the mother-loving truth. I'm sorry. Back in the day, I couldn't say that out loud because y'all get mad about it. Okay, but now, because some of y'all are starting to go, well, MAGA's not what it used to be. Now you're doing that. When in the beginning, you're like, how dare you, MAGA? It's funny how the pendulum swings. But I digress. At the very beginning, everybody's like, we're unity, brother. Brother! Right? Everything's American flags and bullets, bullets that are made, like antennas made out of bullets on their F-150s, on their Fords, right? Have you driven a Ford lately? You know what I'm saying? Nobody? But it's the truth. Cosplaying is like they're full-on military, but they're not. They just go in CrossFit. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Sorry. It's just the mother-loving truth. Okay? So, now everything's gone to ish. And the world is starting to eat each other, the MAGA world. That's what we're seeing right now. Here's the thing. I just want to point something out because this has happened in other cases before. Yeah. Other missing cases, other whodunits. Shoot, you look at the likes of cases that actually went into trial where people are fighting for their freedom, so on and so forth, right? And you notice that people will literally go out of their way to try to make their lives, the opposing side's life, miserable. Have you not noticed that? Especially when it's when a case or when it's a mystery, we don't know who done it. People will literally start to go after each other because there's not enough information. And it's like ravenous rabid dogs that are literally sitting there going like, there's a little piece of meat up there, right? And instead of them working together to try to get to that piece of meat, they start to attack each other because they want to be the first one to that piece of meat, or they think they have the best way to get to that clue or get to that piece of meat, right? To the point where they start getting angry with each other. They can't reach it. They can't get to it. So then all of a sudden they start eating each other. And that's exactly what we're seeing in MAGA right now as we speak. Some of y'all are applauding this. Some of y'all are applauding this. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's terrible. I think it's really tragic. Okay? This is very, very tragic. Because once again, instead of us focusing on the goal, the end goal, which is to get the truth, that dangling piece of meat, everyone's like, well, F you. And then everyone's starting to eat each other. They're starting to go after each other rather than going after the common goal, which is the truth. Truth, transparency, the American way, right? Am I right or am I right? We've seen this in many, many cases before, to the point where rumors become truth, when those rumors are exactly what it is. Rumors. But a certain side of the world will take it and run with it. And then the opposing side will sit there and chastise those people who believe that piece of information. At the end of the day, what I'm basically trying to say is this whole thing turns into a mother-loving cluster F. And that's exactly where we are right now with Charlie Kirk's demise. Because even though some believe that this is still a mystery, which there's some parts that are a mystery, but there's one piece that I think is very true. The person who pulled the trigger, Tyler Robinson, is the man who pulled the trigger. That's what I truly think. I truly 110% believe that. I do. But I don't think he did it alone. Like I said earlier. I know some of y'all will be like, no, he's an innocent. Why are we trying to protect the guy who literally, allegedly turned himself in? That part, I think, is true. He did this. But it would be nice to know the breakdown of how he did this. Oh, actually, hit the rewind button really quick. What I'd like to know is what led him to do what he did. What inspired him to do this? Was he just laying with his furry trans lover, role playing, and then suddenly out of nowhere, this person said while eating a block of cheese, hey, I really don't like Charlie Kirk. And he's like, what? I'll do anything for you, my little ferret. I'm just curious, what was it that made him do what he did? This cannot be just a whim. Like I said, it doesn't make any sense, right? But now we've been listening to a lot of Candace Owens. And let me tell you something. I understand. You got to understand, like, I sit on the fence and I'm just sitting there eating the popcorn and watching each side going crazy on each other, you know? And it's really like sitting inside MAGA, which is interesting. You're sitting inside MAGA and you're seeing these sides just going after each other. And you're like, what is going on? Oh my, Pastor, I need extra butter. Extra butter for this popcorn? Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. What is going on? This is insane because it's wild and it makes no sense. Why are they going so unhinged over this situation? Has that ever crossed your mind? Does it ever cross your mind? Anytime? Anybody? Why this is happening? To me, I still think, I'm going to be real. To me, I still think that this is a full-on fight for the brass ring. Charlie Kirk was in the lead. He ain't in the lead anymore. I'm so sorry, but I'm just going to be real. Charlie Kirk gone. No, he's not. No, he is not alive somewhere. Like, we need to damn that. Damn that theory. Damn it all. Okay? Damn it. It's done. He's not alive. He's gone. Okay? He's not somewhere drinking a pina colada with the likes of Tupac and Elvis right now. And Biggie. Let's not forget Biggie. Let's be real. Him gone. We all saw the video. Him gone. Why would he want to do a disappearing act right now? He most definitely ain't Houdini. So why would he want to leave suddenly out of nowhere and let his wife take over, which has basically turned into an absolute cluster F as well? Why? Like I said, the man is gone. So whoever's out there thinking, I mean, oh, my Lord, my. Some wild stuff, wild theories that are going on out here. But as we see this cannibalization happening right now, you can't help but step back and watch the chaos ensue. Now, I've done a video about this man right here. Some people are trying to say Balix Jones or Balix Tones or something like that. I've seen it in the chat a million times. I got to be honest. I don't understand. The man who is the king of conspiracy theories, I still don't understand why he's losing his mother-loving mind over this. I don't get it. He embraces conspiracy theories. Are you kidding me? Talk about gay frogs. Trans praying mantises. It's all the hormones in the water, right? This man, Alex Jones, let's be real. Hamburger. He mad. He big mad. Why? And he's like, I'm going after you, your family. I'm going to expose it all. Wait for it. Why? Him of all people should understand that if she's asking the questions and may be close to something, or just asking the doggone questions, it may not be anywhere near the truth. Why is he the first to try to throw a stone? Should he not be casting a stone at Candace Owens? I'm just asking for a friend. Remember Sandy Hook? Yeah, that tragedy. Remember what he said about Sandy Hook? Yeah, those were conspiracy theories. And remember what happened to him? Yeah, he basically lost everything. Had to build from the ground up. Yeah, he still has this really nice studio and whatnot. Crane shots and stuff like that. It's insane. He still talks about whatever the hell he wants to talk about. Got a deal. He's doing his show on X and all that stuff. But why is he the one of the many that has cast a stone? Why, Balix Tones? Why must thou cast thy stone. In fact, he shouldn't even have a stone to throw, if you ask me. It's interesting because you're going to see, like, because we already seen, the likes of Ben Shapiro getting mad and going after all these people, calling them all names, even people who were about to speak after him, right after him. Ben Shapiro. We got all those people out here listening to him go in. In fact, he got paid, I think, $1 million to be up there to speak. And then from my understanding, Charlie Kirk didn't even like Ben Shapiro. But so then why was Ben Shapiro at America Fest? That makes no sense. But that's where he started to push the domino. The domino was already doing it was already starting to wobble like this. And he just went, Ben Shapiro, and he just pushed it over there. Wet ass P word, and he just pushed it over. And now the dominoes are falling. And everyone's going after each other. And it's been absolutely crazy. It's a clusterfuck. Woo! Almost got myself right there. that was a Christmas Carol right there. Fudge. Right? Nobody seen that movie? Classic. Anyway, that almost got me. It almost got me. I'll just blame it on the cold medicine. But anyway, fudge. Fa la 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 la, indeed. It was close. I didn't say the CK. I did not say the K. I didn't say the CK. I did not pronounce that at all. But it was close. Whoo! Okay. Moving on, though. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not like, I'm going to get fined for saying the word, F-U-C-K. But still, I try my best to keep it clean on this show. Ish. PG-13. So moving on. It is an absolute cluster F, for sure. And they're all going after each other. But I think one of the main reasons is this. Idle minds is most definitely the conspiracists' plaything. And now they're all angry. So we got to relive this moment because this is just unhinged and it's insane. And it's the man, AJ, just losing his mother-loving marbles over Candace Owens and her theories.
Just day one, I knew it was bull. And all your minions with their talking points and obvious big funding to do this, I love it because I'm coming after all of you. Because the only way the Democrats can try to take this country down is by infighting and by infiltrating and by opening the drawbridge to the barbarians. And it's not going to happen. The truth is, we've won the fight for America First, the Republican Party. We're driven out the Shapiros. We're driving out the Levins. That's all happening. And then we get this flank.
Actually, I'm sorry. You're not drowning out the Ben Shapiro's because Ben Shapiro's still talking and he's still doing his thing. And there's still people who listen to him. Sure, it's not his Daily Wire platform isn't doing as well as it used to back in the day. But let's be real. Okay. You're not drowning out that guy. He's still going to talk. He hasn't been canceled or anything of that sort. You see what I'm saying? And of course, I thought the right did not like canceling people and that freedom of speech is everything. So even the likes of Benjamin wet-ass P-word Shapiro should be able to say whatever the hell he wants on his platform. Am I right or am I right? He ain't going nowhere. Ben's still making his money. Or at least he's using daddy's money. Something. Okay? But here's the thing. Gene, let me just say this. Yes, he is a Zionist. Absolutely. We already know about that. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I feel that this is the reason why there's such a rift going on right now. Ever since Charlie Kirk lost his life, Zionism, Israel first, whatever, right, has been a prominent factor on whether or not you are on the right or the right side or the bad side of MAGA. Now, I don't know which side is good and which side is bad. I'm not in that conversation about Zionism or anti-Israel or anything of that sort. But what I do know, from what I'm seeing in the nosebleed seats, the rift that's going on, right? You got the likes of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, who are basically saying we need to be America first and not Israel first, for lack of a better term, right? Then you got the likes of Ben Shapiro and others that are very old school MAGA. That's what it basically is. I'm just going to break it down. It's old school MAGA. New school MAGA is America first. Old school is, first term Trump, first term President Trump. And even now, his term now is still obviously Israel. It's still, the theme of Zionism is definitely on there big time. Okay. And as you can see, the likes of J.D. Vance and others that are still on that side. And that is the old school MAGA. There's a new school of MAGA-ish that is starting to brew and starting to be created. A lot of the young cats, from what I'm seeing now, are leaning more on the side of the new school MAGA. Now, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with the old school MAGA and with Trump, because as Trump leaves office, because he will leave office, there's no way on God's green earth he is going to run a third term. And if he does, there will be a very big problem in America. There will be a massive problem, guys. Mark my words. If he runs a third term, there will be a massive problem. Whether you like to hear that or not, that is the truth. There will be a massive problem. But if he won't run a third, but I know other people will be like 2028. I don't see it. I don't see it. They're going to have to move mountains to make that happen. But here's the thing. When he leaves office after this term, someone either has to carry that torch of old school MAGA or carry a new torch. Is it going to be J.D. Vance? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he has a good chance of like winning and running, you know what I mean? Because we got J.D. Vance all up in our face. And yes, there are still people who are out here holding on to old school MAGA. But old school MAGA is going to go with Trump. It's going to fizzle out when Trump leaves office. And there will be a new wave of whatever it is. I am calling it America First. MAGA colon America First, right? That's what I'm seeing. Is Vance eventually going to lean on that side? Because he's going to need those voters. He's going to need those voters if he's running in 2028. And the fact that they're already talking about that, the fact that we already have Erica Kirk going, and I endorse Vice President J.D. Vance, who reminds me so much of my husband, for president of 2028. Like, come on now. She's saying it out loud. So Trump obviously must have okayed this, right? I'm assuming he did. Because he knows for sure there's no way on God's green earth he is running a third time. But he needs a predecessor. And that could very well be J.D. Vance. But I will say this, J.D. Vance, he's kind of a noodle. He's kind of a wet noodle. He's willing to bend wherever the wind blows. And if he starts start reading the tides and start saying, ooh, no, MAGA, old school MAGA's done. He's going to start changing his ways. Remember, this is the same guy who was calling Trump the funny mustache man. Why did that come out weird like that? The funny mustache man, but the funny mustache man. Okay. Was he not saying that? It's funny because I did not see that coming. But isn't it interesting that he said that? He's terrible. He's the worst guy. He's the funny mustache man. And now he was his running mate and became vice president. So that means his allegiance is for sale. I'm sorry, I'm just speaking from the heart. Because it's all about love, right? Think about it for a second. Think about it for a second. You know for a fact, before he became his running mate, he was trashing Trump. And then suddenly his running mate, his loyalty is for sale. His allegiance, he is looking at this like a corporate climb. That's it. And it's like, listen, buddy, Trump likes you. I know you have your reservations about Trump. And obviously, I was never in the rooms of these conversations, but this is what it feels like. Hey, buddy, I know you have your feelings about Trump, but here's the thing. He wants you to run with him. He loves your look. You're very well-spoken. You're good at your speeches, all that stuff. All we're asking for you to do is hold on for 4 years. And then it's yours. The presidency will be yours. To sit in this spot, vice president, run that spot for 4 years. And the next 4 years will be you as president. You don't think he looked at that, went to his wife, Usha, and said, baby, he didn't really sound like that, like he's Eddie Murphy, but he's like, baby, I have a chance. And probably Usha's like, no. I don't know why she sounds Hispanic. I don't know why she sounds Hispanic, but you know what I'm saying, okay? She said, no, babe. Babe, it's an opportunity. It's just 4 years. It's just 4 years. And then I get the shot. And then I'll be the president. I'm sorry. No. But you get what I'm saying, okay? Mark Rubio, yeah, I feel like he would be like vice president with JD Vance. That's what I'm feeling all the way down to my plums. Okay? But again, she probably was like, fine. Do it, honey. Make your dreams come true. And this is what he's going through right now. But I'm telling you, old school MAGA is going to be going out with Trump. Because it's already happening right now. And it has nothing to do with Candace Owens or Alex Jones. Has everything to do with the Epstein files. Has everything to do with these tariffs that are absolutely crazy. Has everything to do with this economy that has not changed. Come on, guys. We all know this. His approval ratings keep on going down the pooper. Come on now. He keeps on saying, I'm President Peace, but he's actually President War because he keeps on dropping bombs over everything. He's dropping bombs over everything right now, guys. It's insane. Have you not noticed? Come on now. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. So, with all that being said, we've seen a lot of craziness as of late. Absolutely a lot of craziness. Okay? I feel like this was inevitable. And as we start to see the administration lie in our faces every day over the stupidest, smallest things, and to great and small. Okay? They're great and small. You can't tell me that MAGA's holding tight. Yeah, there's other people that be like, yeah, he's everything. He could do no wrong, my president. He's screwing the pooch right now. He really is screwing the pooch. My opinions, just my opinion. But let him finish his meltdown.
Attack from Candace Owens telling us today, I don't think there's radical Islam. I don't think the Somalis are a problem. All right on time. It's Democrat talking points. It's Democrat tactics. I'm mad at myself.
You know what is really frustrating about this is that everything that turns into muck on the right turns into a situation where they start pointing at everything on the left. Oh, this whole thing where they're going after each other, it's all because of the Democrats. What? This has nothing to do with any Democrats. This has everything to do with whatever's going on in the right. Please stop with this BS rhetoric. Stop it. Look at the situation with Epstein. It started with Epstein. Oh, it's a Democrat hoax. Okay. I didn't hear Alex Jones talk about that, and you know for a fact he's sitting there going like, I'm really concerned about all this stuff. Gay frogs. That's what he was doing. All about the Epstein files. Everybody's turned off about that stuff. But Trump went out there and said, oh, it's a Democrat hoax. It's all about the Democrats. It's the Democrats. Blame it all on the Democrats. Like, what? Huh? What? So now we have gone down even a few more pegs. And now it is a Democrat thing. The Democratic Party is the one out here spouting all this rhetoric. The person who's the leader of all the conspiracy theories, or at least the questions and all that, is a former MAGA supporter, Candace Owens. Every person that's been asking questions all online, all of them, majority of them, are MAGA supporters. So miss me with this nonsense of, oh, it's all leftist crap. Stop. 99.9% of the people that are talking right now are MAGA. Come on, man. Stop.
That I didn't open up on our ass whenever Kennedy was getting approved. I remember looking at my guys because it was pushed on all of us. Imagine we all got out of the car. It was everywhere. It was pushed by everything. We all got out of the car and we're all listening to the same thing because it was all pushed on us. So we hike hours and listen to this 2 hours of bullshit about Kennedy and a Mossad honeypot and all this stuff and how he's with Epstein, and none of it was true, but it was right there in his confirmation. I remember saying to them, like I said, I got to investigate her now. I got a bad feeling. I didn't have a bad feeling. God gave me a good brain. I already knew. I dropped the ball. I apologize. She's a globalist agent.
I'm done. This dude has straight up lost his mother-loving marbles. Okay? I was wrong. Down. Like, what's going on, man? He has 15 different emotions and 15 different thoughts in nanoseconds. Okay? All because of Candace Owens. And her asking questions. Crazed look in his eye. Okay? Crazed look in his eye. Oh, that dude is unhinged. Mom? Yeah, the dude is unhinged. Straight up unhinged. And guess what? All because somebody's asking questions about Charlie Kirk. Yes, some of the things that a good portion of the things that she has said is wild and absolutely unhinged. But at the same time, though, she's asking the questions. I don't see a problem with her asking questions as long as it doesn't go too far off the rails. But here's the thing. You already know. I've been sitting on the fence. I've been sitting there trying to ask as many questions as possible. Where's the proof? Where are the facts? Please don't be reckless and point fingers at a huge organization only to find out that they have nothing to do with it. You realize how dangerous that can be, right? That could be absolutely dangerous as all get out. Let me just keep it a bean with y'all. That can be very dangerous to just go out of your way to say something that isn't true. So yeah, that's why I say, hey, let's wait. And hopefully somebody, as she's under, see, that's the problem here, okay? We're looking at this here in a second. Here's my problem with this whole situation. Because let me be real, she has freedom of speech. She can ask anything she wants. There's nothing wrong with that. Ask her anything she wants, okay? Or she can ask anything she wants. She has every right to do it, okay? And yeah, email me if that is true. I was trying to Google it to see if that was true about Camila. I didn't see anything, any alerts, but send it to me, please. That'd be great. But moving on, like I have no problems with her asking questions. There's no problems with that. My thing is making sure she isn't saying something that is just completely out of hand. Here's the other part that is a concern of mine as well. She's putting out all this information, but who's actually doing the research? Like who's investigating the information that she's putting out here? What I mean is like when she says Egyptian planes, or she talks about a multitude of other things, where is the proof? Where are they actually going and taking that information? Is the FBI taking this information and going and doing their due diligence? Come on, guys, think about this. Because sure, she's probably making crazy views, getting crazy amounts of money from doing these videos. But at the same time, who's actually taking the information and going and looking? You see what I'm saying? It's just frustrating, okay? It's just frustrating. But let me check something here really quick before we get into this. Because, of course, I'm looking and I didn't see any news about Camila, any new updates, but I will look around to see if there's anything new. Hold on. Oh, I guess there is. Okay. Hold on, guys. I might have to play a little bit of this before we get into the conversation here. But they're saying a body has been discovered, but foul play was not suspected. They're awaiting a positive identification. That's apparently what they're saying right now, that they're saying that Bexar County Sheriff says a body has been found near where the 19-year-old Camila almost was last seen walking. It has not been positively identified as Camila, but so it's too early to tell. But he says there are indicators of her doing something bad to herself. That's a damn shame. Hold on. Playing a little clip here. Might have to do a live a little bit later, but here it is, guys. Just really quick before we go into this.
We've spent the last several days looking for Camila. And the update that we have today is that we just recently, about 4:40, 4:45, found a body in the field nearby here. At this point, it's too early to tell if the body that we found is that of Camila, but at this point, we don't suspect foul play. As you all know, one of the possibilities that we were working under was the fear of self-harm. And at this point, there are some indicators that the body that we found may be as a result of that. Obviously, the medical examiner will have to make definitive identification.
Okay. 1 second, guys. Because somebody said in the chat that there was a weapon found near her. And if that's the case, then my theory might be correct. If that is true. But give me a second, because this is some breaking news, guys. We're going to get into the Candace Owens thing, I promise, but just give me a second. This is terrible news. Terrible, terrible news. One second, y'all. This streamed 15 minutes ago. Let's take a look. Damn it. You hope that it was just like, she went on a walk and she's found alive. You know what I mean? But let's scroll ahead. Looks like this is going to be a very brief press conference. But just grant me some grace, guys, because this is some breaking news. Camila Owens' body allegedly has been found. They still need to do their due diligence as far as like identifying her remains, but still, no matter what, a body has been found in the area that she ran to, or like in the area where she was found running off to. So this is just all very, very bad. This is all very, 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 very bad. But let's find out. And I'm going to speed it up. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just, we're in the middle of another show, another topic, but this is important because we did talk about this just a second ago. So let's just play this and get through this pretty quickly. All right, let's rock and roll.
Con el FBI fueron trabajando juntos. Ellos have found a body in the field nearby here. At this point, it's too early to tell if the body that we found is that of Camila, but at this point, we don't suspect foul play. As you all know, one of the possibilities that we were working under was the fear of self-harm. And at this point, there are some indicators that the body that we found may be as a result of that. Obviously the medical examiner will have to make definitive identification, and we'll have to provide cause and manner of death. But as of now, we're processing the scene, and we hope to have more information to release as soon as we're able. The area in question is probably about, I'd say, as the crow flies, about a quarter of a mile from here, and probably a few hundred yards from her actual residence. It's an area very, very close to here. This afternoon, it was the folks that found the body it was a joint team comprised of BCSO and FBI. Incidentally, the FBI has been great partners in this investigation. Up to this point, they'd been really helping with intel work and processing digital evidence. But today, they actually sent us basically a small army of agents that actually helped with boots on the ground work. And we actually this afternoon made a conscious decision to go back to an area that had already been checked. But due to tall grass, we felt that there would be a benefit to checking the area once again. And as I mentioned, probably about 10 minutes into that search, the body was found. And again, too early to tell who or a cause and manner, but we do have a body at this point. Esta tarde voy a dar más información tocante este caso que nosotros hemos andado investigando por varios días. Como ustedes saben, hemos andado buscando.
I'm going to skip ahead the Spanish. No disrespect. Is this all due to time for right now? Okay, guys. But this is terrible.
Pero también descubrieron sino que el aproximadamente Camila, para que nos digan 445, a joint team comprised of BCSO deputies and FBI agents were conducting an open field search of a field where we had already checked once before, but due to high brush, we made a conscious decision to head back out there and check again. They found what we believe to be a body at this point. It's too early to tell who the body is or cause and manner of death. The medical examiner will be making both of those determinations, but we hope that we can try to expedite that process to be able to get the community answers that everybody's been waiting for.
Wait, hold on. See, this is the question. Because somebody in the chat said that a weapon was found. So I'm wondering, did they find a weapon near her? Is there a weapon near her? That's the one thing I want to know. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Again, we're just going to blaze through this pretty quick, okay?
Questions? During the course of the investigation, we developed some information that there may have been some suicidal ideations on Camila's part before, some signs of depression, undiagnosed as far as we can tell. But from what's being described to us, it sounds like it was a young person going through a very tough time in their life and going through some emotional issues. And there was some indicators of suicidal ideations as well. Ahorita no se sabe. No podemos decir.
What kind of any obvious injuries to the
No, at this point, no. I mean, I can tell you that we found a firearm very near the body.
There it is. So my theory is right. Remember I said she went into the car to grab something. I think she went to grab a weapon. And then she went on her walk. But see, this is the moment. This is why I said earlier, like they should have said, of course, no matter what, they should have been out there combing the earth trying to find her. But there's another part of me that's like, they should have gone and seen to see if his dad's weapon was missing, if it was her dad's weapon, or if she went to a pawn shop or a gun store or anything of that sort, because that would explain a lot more. You see what I'm saying? Just asking all those things before and while they're actually looking for her. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, yeah, apparently. So a pew-pew was missing from the house. That's what, okay. That's interesting. So I would instantly think that, right? If a weapon was missing from the house, instantly, bang, I'm going, okay. Something's up, right? But let's continue. Yes, that's some sad stuff. Let's continue on, though. I'm glad we got this information. Damn it. I always feel this type of way when it has to do with a lot of with any of these missing person cases. You know what I mean? But let's continue on. We got to wrap this up pretty quickly. Sorry, guys.
And in this particular case, we were actually looking for a firearm as well that had come up missing.
And was that firearm belong to a relative?
It was a family member's firearm. Yes.
I know we didn't have any surveillance or any. Did we trace her? Did we have any more footage of that?
No, I mean the last video we put out yesterday was a video from somebody's dash cam that had seen somebody matching the description that we had put out on social media that day. At this point, we're still not 100% that the person in that video is Camila. Although the clothing description did match, we received several different kinds of clothing description of clothing she could be wearing at the time. And so at this point, it's too early to tell if this is actually her, but we're operating on that distinct premise.
Interesting.
Pues quisiéramos pedir más videos de la comunidad. Obviamente el video de ayer ojalá nos ayudó un poco, pero también se sabe que el área donde ella fue encontrada o el cuerpo fue encontrado, está cerca de la casa. Es posible que si es ella, ella pudiera haber cruzado a ese punto sin cámaras verla a esa hora también. Yes, the area where the body was found is very close to Camila's home. And it's quite possible that based upon the canvassing that we did, not every house had camera footage or cameras. So it is possible that at that time of the day, on that day, she may have made it out to that area without going across any cameras. So it's possible no camera footage exists. But we would still ask people on that street to double check their cameras again. Yes.
Sad. Oh, by the way, somebody said News Nation can't be bothered to cover the story. Oh, they covered the story. In fact, there was some an episode where Cuomo was out for the day, and Jesse Weber was covering it and talking about how she may have left on her own volition. We talked about it. We played it in the live. News Nation was talking about this for sure. They definitely covered this for sure.
So I'm guessing in the next day or two they'll be able to tell us a little bit more about who the body is, and then hopefully soon thereafter cause and manner of death as well. There was a firearm missing in this case. We had not parted with that information publicly just yet, but I can tell you that.
Why wouldn't they give out that information early on? But okay, that's another conversation. Like, why wouldn't they give that information out? Because again, that's a kid who's walking around with a weapon. They could be armed and dangerous. What the hell? What the hell, man? Why wouldn't you give that information to the public? You think somebody who sees her is going to run up and try to like help her or something like that? And they just, what if she's unhinged and she pulls the trigger on somebody else? I mean, come on, man. You should be saying that stuff to the public. Why not say? That is just asinine to me. I'm going to play a little bit more. We're going to move on.
That there has been a firearm recovered at the scene where the body is. Missing from the home, yes.
But have you confirmed that firearm belonged to that relative?
The firearm that was missing did belong to a relative. The firearm that has been observed there at the crime scene, we haven't touched it yet. So we haven't gotten close enough to verify serial numbers. Si hay una pistola ahí con el cuerpo.
Okay. That's just dumb. I'm sorry, but that's just dumb. No disrespect. I'm happy that the law enforcement were able to find her. And honestly, it has been 6 days, but still they were able to find her. But honestly, like, yo, why wouldn't you say something about that earlier on? Right out the gate. Then also the other thing, he's like, there's so many different descriptions of what she's wearing. Well, then what was she found wearing? Was she wearing leggings? Okay. Or was she wearing like blue shorts? No, I had to cut it off because I have a limited time here, and there's a lot to cover with this Candace Owens thing, but that gave us the meat and potatoes of what's going on. She has been found. This is very sad news. It sounds like there was a GSW of some kind, and this was done by herself. And that is terrible. It just aggravates me that there were pieces of information that they withheld from the public that would have been helpful during that time in the search for this woman. That's it. And that aggravates me because it could have been a person finding her, trying to bring her, away from doing something, you know what I mean? And however her mind state is, she could have pulled the trigger on somebody else before she did it to herself. You see what I'm saying? So again, somebody who's armed and missing, I think is a very big piece of information that people, the general public, should know as well. But yes, seems like she was a very beautiful girl inside and out, and may she rest in peace. I just don't like hearing that they're not giving information, the proper information that the public most definitely needs. That is ridiculous to me. It's fine if you can't get what she's wearing correct, but I feel like you should get that correct. You know what I'm saying? Cross-reference that with the mama and whoever else saw her before she went disappeared. But at the same time, that's Bayard County. That's Bayard County Sheriff's Office, I guess. I don't know. That just burns my cookies, y'all. That just burns my cookies. But we got to get into this conversation. May she rest in peace. My prayers go out to her family and her friends because I know they're all devastated right now. It's just terrible. Okay. And I'm sorry for the left turn, but that was an important case that we've been following and talked about earlier today. It's just wild that the turnaround was so quick. You know what I mean? From the time that we reported it today, earlier today, to now her being found. And like I said, they should have said something about the weapon. They really should have said something about the weapon a long time ago. But it's frustrating. But we got to get into this, guys. All right. Here is the thing. We have Candace Owens. She had like a town hall. She had her own version of a town hall meeting where a whole bunch of people called in, via X Space. Okay, their Spaces platform, and they had a bunch of questions to ask about her theories and whatnot. So we're gonna go through some of this and hear what she got to say. Some of it is suspicious. What she says. I'm gonna be real. Some of it seems like she's walking back a few things and all that, and it is very frustrating. But then there's some other things. She drops a piece of information that's like, what? Millions of dollars. What? Millions of dollars missing? For real? This is for real? What? How does she know about this? Right? So we're going to get into this. I'm going to crank up the speed a little bit because there's a lot here. And we're going to probably jump ahead a bunch as well. But let us get into this.
Okay. There's a lot of people on. Let me get through these requests. Okay, good button.
And just so you know, just on her Spaces alone, over 144,000 people were watching this last night. That's insane.
Good button. She was on as well. I'll come back to these. I didn't know I could do a co-host option either, so you guys have to forgive me because I'm not the best at this. Okay, I do want to start by just before I add every speaker. I think right now we only have Harrison, but I do want to add a lot more people. especially Harrison, I'm glad that you could join because I do want to hear your perspective on things from the InfoWars standpoint. Okay, so I just want to start by recapping everything that happened with Fort Huachuca. I think that that's, sorry, I'm going to add 2 more people here. Diligent, I'm going to add you. I'm going to go ahead and add you. So yeah, the first thing I want to do is just to make sure that everybody understands what the Fort Huachuca story is and why people are so fired up about it, because obviously I appreciate that not everybody watches my podcast, and there has been just such an aggressive, I would describe it as a misinformation campaign. A lot of people that are chasing rabbits, has nothing to do with what we discussed on the show. And I do think it's important for people to also have the clarity of how quickly this all unfolded. So I did create this little timeline, which I just jotted down, because if I make one mistake, then the internet jumps down my throat. It's weird. When you hear how this all transpired, you're going to recognize that it all happened very quickly and very aggressively. So I have told the story on my podcast. I hate that this is just the reality of how it happened. Okay. So it was a holy day of obligation, and I did my podcast. Obviously, we do not normally go to mass in the evenings on a Monday. I think it was Monday. I think it was Monday the 8th. And we went, so I literally jumped off air my podcast, ran to mass. And for whatever reason, maybe because it was just like later in the day, I didn't do my usual prayer, meaning that I normally start my prayers with gratitude, what I'm grateful for, praying for everyone in the family. And this time, for whatever reason, I just went with just basically pleading for a missing piece and saying, essentially that everyone recognizes that there's something very wrong with the Charlie Kirk story, but I just feel like there's like a small piece of this thing missing. And I was just deeply praying for a missing piece. I just want you guys to know that was truly the backstory. I then go home after mass, I sit in my bed, and I open my laptop, and there are literally 50,000 emails in my tips box. That's the old box. That's not even more tips. That's the old inbox. And one just pops in, and it's from a woman, and she just writes, "I really think that you should call my friend Mitch. He has a story that you're going to want to hear." Okay. I never just, and someone drops a number, randomly call them. Obviously, I usually email back and I'll say, please give me some indication of this or that. I don't know what came over me, but I was like, aha, would this be an answered prayer? And I pick up the phone and I call Mitch, and he's kind of startled. I don't think he was just maybe with this friend. And he's like, I can't believe I'm speaking to Candace Owens. And he then proceeds to tell me the story of how he was at Fort Huachuca Air Base dealing with an issue that happened 35 years ago, when he discovered a cartel tunnel. And he happened to, and I want to be very clear here because this is important, there were only 2 people that he mentioned to me on the phone, and he felt absolutely certain that he saw them. Okay. He said on the evening of the 8th, he saw who he then learned later on was Erica Kirk. He saw her at the Candlewood Inn and Suites on September 8th. She was with a younger guy who looked like he was in special forces. He talks about his watch. And the bigger thing for me was that the next day he said that he saw this meeting that he accidentally stumbled upon, what must have been a very important top brass meeting. Essentially described it as like there were 12 or 13 O6s, and you don't see that much unless it's a very important meeting. And he described the meeting in military terms. The way that I understood it was basically, this is like final hands on deck. We're about to go on, and there's going to be a mission. And he stumbled into this building by a long set of circumstances. He was going to get a coffee. He didn't realize that JTF had gotten back together. He struck up a conversation because he recognized the patch of the 10th Mountain Brigade. And eventually they tell him, oh yeah, we're actually using this random offsite building. We're back together. It's now JTF Southern Border. And that's how he walked in. And at that moment, he was talking to people at the front desk. He saw Brian Harpole walking out of this meeting with somebody. And I'll tell you when we started talking about Mark Amadei, but he initially did not contact me about Mark Amadei or Cabot Phillips. I recognized Erica Kirk on September 8th, leaving the Candlewood Inn Suites on the base. And I recognized Brian Harpole on the 9th, the morning of the 9th. The meeting was concluding at 7:30 a.m. Now, obviously, because the September 9th, the way that he described it was, first and foremost, the end, like, this is like, we're about to do a mission. It's the day before Charlie Kirk dies. There's been a lot of speculation about Brian Harpole. He definitively has lied about things which are on my list. He lied about what they did to prepare for Charlie speaking, kind of showed the messages. He was a bit weird about that. I was going, okay, that's really the most compelling piece for me, is like Brian Harpole, because I'm running in my head, okay, obviously the Erica thing could be interesting, but that's on the 8th. Maybe Erica was with Dan Flood. I mean, she has security. It's Fort Huachuca. It's kind of in their, the Phoenix backyard. Maybe she's there for a different reason, picking something up. Her mother's sick. Her mother works in defense. Like, my mindset was just, the Brian Harpole thing is the most compelling piece for me, because I think he's been acting weird. And obviously I was not going to just assume that I should have him on the show before I went through some basic fact checks. I ran it up to some person that I trust very much, that is in government, that is in the military, asked him to vet the story. I mean, I was basically up all night dealing with this, because I was going, oh my gosh, what if this is the answered prayer? And we are about to be able to assert definitively that Brian Harpole was there. So I did those sort of basic checks. And then it was December 9th, and I just told the story of what Mitch had told me. I did not mention Erica's name. That's very important, because I did not, again, think that that was necessarily relevant to the meeting that had happened on the 9th. And I wanted to speak about Brian Harpole, and I just said it was a blonde girl. Anyways, that's the 9th. On December 10th is the very next day is when Erica sat down with Harrison Faulkner on Fox News, and she addressed conspiracy theorists as sick and said that she wanted them to stop. And then suddenly I'm trending and people are like, well, she's basically saying that you need to stop. And I was like, okay, that's just weird. Then the next day on the 11th is when Barry Weiss used the snippet of the now infamous, stop, just stop, which the TikTokers went very crazy on. And I was like, okay, that was specifically obviously about me. It's like Barry Weiss said, the podcaster Candace Owens. And it kind of backfired, I would say, on the internet. And suddenly the next thing I knew, Erica and I had a date to meet on that Monday. So that was Thursday. That's the stop, just stop snippet. Friday, I had no show. Sunday, I want to tell you this part because this is important. On December 14th, I received a text message from Ian Carroll. I hope he is in this chat. I'd like him to jump in case I get anything wrong here. But the text message was to me and my producer, and he was like, hey, I have something for you guys that I need to discuss. It's pretty urgent. When I got around to calling Ian, he told me that basically he had received information from someone. He didn't want to give me the name of the person, and that definitively, Brian Harpole was preparing some huge lawsuit against me. And I was like, that's really weird. And I think he said, some big Texas lawsuit. I don't know what but basically it was it's a big lawsuit and you're going to want to be careful talking about this. And I was like, okay, well, that just can't be accurate because that's not how lawsuits work. I know about lawsuits. And I said, I think someone's intentionally giving you bad information to try to scare me from talking about the Fort Huachuca thing anymore, because I hadn't yet hosted Mitch to tell the story. But I had indicated that I might do more with Mitch, or I might pass him off to Ian Carroll. Next thing you know, Ian Carroll's getting a phone call and told that I'm about to get sued for mentioning Brian Harpole. So I thought that was a little weird. And I basically said to Ian, I think, intentionally somebody gave you bad information. You first have to start with the cease and desist. And I don't factually know if what Mitch said was wrong. That ends. Monday is when Erica and I obviously had to sit down for 4.5 hours, and Turning Point kind of hosted a Q&A, which I thought was unfair and against the rules, I will say, because we agreed to not speak about anything. But that went on. Obviously, on the Tuesday, I came back and actually, let's go back to the meeting with Erica, because this is also relevant.
Are we going to finally get something else about the Erica meeting? Let's find out.
In that meeting, I did not bring up the Fort Huachuca thing because I, first and foremost, needed to continue vetting various aspects of it, but also I have Brian Harpole's number. And so I was just going to text Brian Harpole directly. But it is worth saying that during that interview, Erica gave me Brian Harpole's flights and said, I know that you mentioned that you thought Brian Harpole was at this interview. Here are his flights. Now, you guys would later see those flights because Alex Jones then mysteriously has these flights. I took the flights from her. I thought it was interesting because I didn't bring up Fort Huachuca, and I wasn't intending to bring up Fort Huachuca, and I hadn't mentioned Erica on the show. And I looked at them and I said, oh, well, it's not an alibi because the meeting ended at 7:30 a.m. and planes that left Fort Huachuca were back in Texas. Actually, the SAM plane, as we know, went straight to Texas. And I think Brian Harpole's flight left at 3:42 or something in the afternoon in Texas. So I was like, this does not conflict with the idea that he could have been leading a meeting at 7:30 a.m. So it's a pretty short flight to Texas. So I said that, and that was it. But I said, but thank you for giving me this, because now I can tell people that I have these flights, and also that he doesn't yet have an alibi for that morning. I just wanted to mention that because I feel like that's important. Anyways, obviously, when we went back on air on Tuesday, I recapped I was tired and just kind of went through kind of the high points or the things that we had discussed. It was a very long meeting. On Wednesday, we broke the story about Charlie's car, and that we actually had exclusive photos of what the inside of the car looked like. On Thursday, I made the decision to have Mitch on my show. And
I'm wondering why. Here's the thing. She's giving a very fast. This is at 1.25, by the way, guys. Just so you know, this is at 1.25. Okay, because I know that because there's a lot to cover. She says a lot, and that there's a whole bunch of people that are talking and asking questions as well. So I'm trying to get her to give her foundation of the story so we can get to those parts, right? But and I just said that earlier. I said I was going to speed this up so we can get to the bulk of it. But I do think it's interesting that she did platform Mitch Snow on her platform. She did platform him on her show. And I keep wondering, was that a good move or not? Because again, you got somebody who's saying, I'm 99% sure, I'm 95 to 99% sure that, that was Brian Harpole, or that was Erica Kirk. Are we sure they were them? I mean, there's plenty of people out there in the world that look like other people. Let's be real. So again, I don't know. I guess the question is, was that reckless or was that not reckless, right? I'll leave that up to you guys.
The reason why we made that decision is because we were then working in the background to verify other aspects of the story, and we were able to do that. I now felt beyond confident. He had sent me all of his metadata. He had sent me, as you guys already saw, his ID cards, his former passports, his new passports. He even sent me, now I can't say that this Mexican person was in the cartel, but his story was that he was being hunted by the cartel. He certainly had like court documents documenting that a Spanish person had broken into his home and whatever had happened. So I believed him. I believed his story. I knew that he was a Green Beret. Like I told you, I verified that information right away. And I knew that he had stumbled upon this meeting and he thought, this is why they were pulling him aside. They may have thought something else, but it was substantially true. Everything he said was substantially true. Whether or not he saw Brian Harpole, I don't really know, right? Now, of course, the decision to have him on, I was aware that I could not say to him, I felt that would have been super inauthentic if I was like, hey, tell your story, but like, let's not talk about the fact that you think 100% that you saw Erica. Like that would have just been inauthentic. And I feel like people know that, I don't know, you guys would have just like sussed that out in 4 seconds. So I understood obviously that we were opening a can of worms because people were going to be compelled, obviously, by the fact that potentially Erica Kirk was on the base the evening before, if you will, on September 8th. But again, my main thing was Brian Harpole. During that time, as we were vetting his story, he described the congressman. He thought he was pretty certain that it was a congressman in some description. And he described him what he looked like, glasses, about the age, and he said the height was 5'9". So we were sending him photos of congressmen that we thought could fit the bill, just so you guys know this. And he was like, no. We sent him Amadei, and he's like, this person looks very familiar. Like, this could be the person. Like, have you looked into his story? Like, do you think that this could be the guy? Like, this is the first person that really looks like the guy. And he said, is he 5'9"? And I Googled that and it said he was 5'9". I actually think Google's wrong on that. I think his height is wrong. I will say that now. But it's important for you to know that he did not initially come to us with Amadei. We sent him photos. It was just Erica and Brian Harpole. Okay, so we have him on, obviously, and he says both of the names. And what happened thereafter is what I can only describe as like an explosion. I get contacted from somebody who's in DC, and they were very concerned and thought maybe somebody was feeding me bad information. And I was kind of interested in the phone call, not going to name the person, but was basically like, worried about your security and things like that. And I was like, I think we're good. Like, we're just kind of vetting the story. Then on the 20th, and this is very interesting, these two YouTubers, Valhalla and Paramount Tactical, reach out to Mitch. And they're being super nice to him. And they're saying, or one of them said, and I don't want to mix them up, but we have the video of it because Mitch is predisposed to paranoia. And he recorded them. And I'm going to drop the conversations. I'm happy to drop them after this live. They're so nice to him. This is on December 20th. And they're not questioning whether or not he was in the special forces. They're not saying anything weird. And they're actually saying to him that I may be under foreign influence. And I'm like, okay. And these guys are clearly not good guys. Or actually the 20th is when he first told me that they had reached out to him and wanted him on his podcast. It might have been the 21st that they called him. I'll clear that up. But between the 20th and the 22nd is when they are suddenly calling him and they're like, oh, we're just concerned about Candace. Okay. Yeah. And you're going to see in a couple of days, he loses his mind and suddenly speaking to like exes and baby mamas like he's Jerry Springer. But that was the nature of their phone call. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I don't know these guys. And then on the 22nd, I get another phone call from Ian Carroll. Oh, he's here. I'm going to add you, Ian. Add a speaker. I get another phone call from Ian Carroll, and this time Ian is like totally freaked as in like very concerned, because obviously like I have a relationship with Ian Carroll, and to some degree he respects Valhalla. And he's like, look, I have this friend who's in the military. He has a YouTube channel, and he basically runs me through, and he's like basically saying that he wants to talk to me. And it was kind of said to me in a way that was like, if you don't kind of take this rope, like, and jump off of this Mitch train, like what's going to come out about Mitch is going to be explosive and you're going to like go down on the ship. That's essentially the vibe that Valhalla was giving to Ian Carroll, and basically like kind of demanding to get on the phone with me. And I was like, and then he starts talking about, first he said stolen valor. Like he was never a Green Beret. I was like, he absolutely was a Green Beret. I sent that up the chain of the government. Like, that's just not true. And it felt to me like they were clearly being quite aggressive with Ian on the phone, demanding to speak to me, demanding I allow them onto my platform, talking about his like ex-wives. I was like, I don't care about any of this. And I said to Ian, this seems to me like they're trying to distract me with stupid stuff. Like, if he has something that is concrete that like Mitch somehow defrauded me or lied and did like definitively was not a Green Beret, then please just have him email it to me. And I said, and if he emails that to me, I will deal with it immediately. And I also made it clear to Ian that, because they were like, oh, then like she could get in trouble for fraud because she raised money for this guy and he wasn't even like a Green Beret. I was like, first off, he never asked me to raise money for him. So the idea that he was doing this to defraud me for money, that came out naturally when I was live. I said I would do a give, send, go, because I said people were going to start digging up things. Like, I just had a feeling like I thought it would be other people, but I just felt like, oh, let's raise money for him. He had a tough life, whatever. And I had that court paperwork of what he was going through.
And I will say this, just because he had, like, because people are digging some things up, saying that he's a fraud and all that stuff. And the thing is that if it is true about him being a fraud and everything, it still doesn't mean that he wasn't in those rooms. It still doesn't mean that he didn't see what he saw, but doesn't mean that Erica Kirk was in those rooms, or Brian Harple. And it does make you wonder, like, why would they be in those meetings in the first place? The day before or 2 days before or whatever, before Charlie Kirk lost his life. Right? I think that's one of the things that we all want to know, right? I'm going to play it at normal speed for like a few seconds, for a little bit, okay? Because y'all are getting annoyed at the speed in which she's talking, but I'm trying to get to the part where people are coming in and calling in, because there's things that they ask that I want to get to. And I might have to skip a chunk of this just solely for that, because honestly, we've already heard most of this stuff before from Candace, but I wanted to give you guys some of the foundation of why she's on here in the first place. But let's go.
So that was natural. And not only that, but the very next day, which I will show on my show this week, Mitch sent me an email the day after I started the Give, Send, Go. The morning after, he sent me and Skylar an email and said, "Thank you so much for raising money, but I do not want to accept this money from you." And he was very self-deprecating. He was like, "I'm just a fat, ugly man, and I just wanted to help, and I don't deserve this. Like, I don't deserve this from the public." And then I called him and I was like, Mitch, this is kind of stressful. Like, I don't want to figure out how to like give people back all this money. And he was like, "How about this? If the tip that I gave you proves fruitful, like if it's actually Brian Harple or it's Erica, then I will take the money. Otherwise, I don't want it." So he was never trying to get money from me. That whole, he's a fraud, he was trying to steal, like none of that is real. It's just completely made up. And again, I will drop the receipts of exactly when he emailed me the morning after. So yeah, that's what I said to Ian. And I was like, I just don't care about anything about his background at all. I want to know if they have anything about him not being Green Beret. I will obviously post an update and say this guy completely tricked me with his metadata and everything. They were unwilling to do that. They did not want to do that. And so that's when they started, I guess, talking to his estranged son from 20 years ago. I don't know. I don't know, because I knew that it was an intentional trying to pull you, like they want to bring you down in mud so that you don't go forward, and you have to just focus on the facts. So that's
a good point. Like, they're going to do everything they can. All the people that are sitting there, the naysayers and whatnot, or even the people that just want to throw everyone off the path in which, Candace Owens may be paving the way for us. They might be trying to just throw us off to be like, hey, look, see, I got the son that's been estranged from his own father for the last 20 years. Here he is in an interview. You know what I mean? See, he's estranged from his own son, so he must be a liar. He must be a fraud. But, like I said, I get both sides. I get why some are going to look at this and ask those questions and start scratching their heads and all that. Because, again, this is wild. All this information is wild. Okay? Let's continue.
The backstory of Fort Huachuca. We all then know what happens next. And Alex Jones jumps into the foray. He's talking about Mitch's history. He's putting out all this information. Mark Amadei did, I do want to say as an update, I scrubbed through looking for roll calls, and then somebody indicated to me that they see him in his chair. He missed the roll call for some reason, but early on in the video, I agree, it does look like Mark Amadei. So that it could be him. And we're looking for somebody else who looks like Mark Amadei. And I also think his height is wrong on Google. I don't think he looks like he's 5'9". So Mark Amadei might be completely like off the hook on that. And again, he wasn't the person that Mitch initially said we gave him that photo. Now, the Cabot Phillips thing is also very interesting. I don't really care about Mitch's estranged relationship with his son. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not Maury. I'm not here to bring families back together. But I tried to debunk him. I thought that was very easy to be able to debunk him with Cabot Phillips, because Cabot Phillips, he has a daily show at the Daily Wire. I think he does it maybe 3 times a week or something. But the Morning Wire, obviously, I worked the Daily Wire. And I was like, well, that's pretty simple. If you're saying that Cabot Phillips was here in Arizona, he actually lives here in Nashville and he has a show. Let me just go find him on his show. Well, it also turns out that Cabot Phillips, from September 4th all the way through to September 10th until September 11th, took a vacation and he wasn't on his show. So when I realized that, I did the right thing. I messaged Cabot Phillips. I sent him 2 messages, asking if he could just answer whether or not he was there, because I don't want to throw like any shade his way. I had sent him, just to get to the Cabot Phillips bit, I had sent Mitch multiple photos of guys like this person. I thought maybe Dan Flood this. He's like, no. I gave him no context, but saw that Cabot Phillips was trending, and I had no idea he was one of Erica's exes. I sent him the photo, and he's like, that's the guy. That's the guy that was with her. And again, I'm now relying on Mitch's memory. I don't know what his facial recognition software is. If it's like mine, it's terrible. Okay, I can meet someone like 5 times and still not place their faces. But if it was my husband, he can meet someone once and he's like, that's him. We saw him at the airport in New Jersey. You don't remember? And I'm like, of course I don't remember. Some people have it, some people don't. So I just wanted to try to confirm it. Cabot Phillips did not respond to me. Okay, he's not, you can say he's not required to respond to me. That's fine. I'm giving you the information. I would probably respond, like, just because it's such an easy thing to do. But that was interesting. I was compelled by that. He said that he thought the person was potentially a pilot or would have had pilots in his family, because Mitch said, I'm a watch guy, and I recognized his watch, and it's a watch that pilots wear. It's digital. It had a yellow button, whatever. Well, there's never been anything publicly about Cabot being in the military. So I was like, that seems wrong to me. And then sure enough, I dug up a post that his grandfather was, I don't know, like awarded high honors in the military and was an Air Force guy. So I was like, okay, well, that's another like interesting thing that's happening. I would like to look further into that. Now, in terms of people saying that, you know, Erica doesn't owe you an alibi, I didn't ask Erica for an alibi. So when suddenly I realized that Paramount Tactical was speaking with Andrew Colvett and she was providing an alibi to Andrew Colvett, well, then suddenly now, if you're going to provide an alibi, then let's provide an alibi. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy to just like communicate whatever that alibi is. I never demanded it privately. I didn't demand it in her face. And I still don't, even if she had said, yeah, I was at Fort Huachuca, I was at a hotel and I was dropping off a package, that doesn't necessarily put her at the meeting the next day. But Mitch did say that the person who he thinks looks like Cabot Phillips was at that meeting the next day. So obviously that's interesting. Like, obviously, if we're investigating this, we should just, like, we could check it off the list and move on. I have messaged Brian Harpole, just so you guys know, thus far, I want to say 4 times, at least 3 times, asking him. Again, we can't say he was willing to give his flights, but doesn't want to also just give his metadata or a picture or something they took a text message at that time to clear his name. You either want to give an alibi or you don't want to give an alibi. You either are saying, I don't owe you an alibi, I don't want to answer at all. But if you're going to do something halfway, then you should provide a full alibi. Now, I will say that I had some communication. I did message also once the thing exploded with Andrew Colvett, because he's just getting on my nerves. Like, really, I have been so nice in terms of what I have told the public about things that Andrew Colvett told me. He's starting to like a little bit play with the bull, and we're getting real close. We're getting real close to me just saying, if you guys really think that I have not been fair, you will really recognize how fair I have been if he keeps pressing me. And I felt very pushed by that Paramount Tactical thing. These people are lunatics, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, send me a text and I could have shut it down immediately. But you're like, I'm assuming you're also the person talking to Andrew. I mean, speaking to Alex, because Alex did say on his show that he spoke to Turning Point USA people and like he had Brian Harpole's flight. So it's pretty obvious. It seems like they're working behind the scenes, and that's annoying me. It's annoying me a lot, actually. Anyways, so once I saw that Andrew Colvett was speaking with Paramount Tactical and being, I don't know, I guess sort of denigrating what we were doing, I then was like, okay, let me text someone more responsible at Turning Point USA and ask, hey, do you guys want to give me an alibi? So I put Andrew Colvett and the COO in a chat, and I was like, hey, just figured we could have a direct line and you can just give me Erica's alibi and I'd be happy to publish it, because I'm not interested in like throwing mud on someone's name. I just want to get to the truth. That conversation was had yesterday, and they did give me an indication of what she was doing, which was making dinner for Charlie. I have asked for, you know, metadata to show that that it was, you know, Charlie that she was texting, and I'm still waiting for that. So the last conversation I had with them, I think that was yesterday, Sunday at around 1:00 p.m. ish, my time, Central, I think. And they said that Erica got busy with the kids and that they were going to get me something. So I'm still waiting on that. Just so you guys know that I have been responsible and speaking to the people directly trying to get the information. Now, obviously, Sam, I very much agree with you, and I'm going to let you jump in here. Actually, let's start with Harrison, because I would love to
This part right here is very important, the Harrison part. Okay, so take a listen.
hear his side. I think it's for the most part, he's done a lot of great work. He has not been feeding us a fed slop and telling us that Charlie had a magic neck, and it's good to hear from people who disagree with us. So Harrison, if you want to unmute yourself and jump in, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess my whole thing is, why does this meeting even matter? Like, what is the actual claim that's being made here? That's been my confusion the whole point, the whole time, is like, okay, let's say that there's absolute proof, photographic evidence that everything that Snow says is true. Like, who cares? I mean, what does that prove? What is the actual accusation? Who do you think was conspiring with who to do what?
Yeah.
And I think obviously the name of the episode was, the day before Charlie Kirk was murdered. The insinuation is that this was a assassination planning meeting, which I don't even see any evidence of that. And then people I'm arguing with online are saying, no, this has nothing to do with the assassination.
Yeah.
So, I guess, if the space is why this matters, why does Fort Huacachuca even matter? Like, what is the claim being made? I still don't even understand that.
Yeah, I'm really glad that he asked this question, because I think a lot of people have been asking that too. It's like, what are you alluding to? What exactly are you breaking down? And yeah, her Sherlock Holmes hat is hilarious. Yes, it is absolutely freaking hilarious. I was expecting it to be like the 2 bill hat thing, you know what I mean? But it's not. It's just a regular hat, but it's funny.
So it matters because why would Brian Harpole be on Fort Huachuca at all? Right? It matters because he's giving an alibi, which means he doesn't want to be associated. Like, it could have easily not mattered. Kind of, to speak to your credit, he could have been like, yeah, I was at Fort Huachuca with my brother. And my brother's in the military. I was dropping off some food. Okay. Like, that could have been then suddenly a dead end. That would have been nothing. Now, because Mitch had described this as a top secret meeting in an off-site building, and had described this as top brass at the Pentagon, and said that these sorts of meetings, and I am forgetting the military term, are when you're just about to embark on like a mission. I know I really uneducated, but military guys will sound better saying that. It was compelling. Like, okay, like I said, Brian Harpole was acting funny. He's been acting weird. He's been telling verifiable lies, and he cared enough to present an alibi, meaning he didn't want people to think he was there. Right. So if you have to give someone an alibi, it's because you don't want people to think that you're there. An alibi is not needed if there's nothing to hide. So that's why it matters. I think that's why it matters. And this reaction, rather than being forthcoming, is why it suddenly feels like, okay, this is important, because no one's acting normal. No one's just like, oh yeah, cool, he was there. Like, it also is, as we have now learned, it's an intel base. He was telling the truth about exactly what building it was. I didn't name the building on my show because I wasn't sure if that would be like a national security problem, but it just happened to be that JTF was borrowing that offsite building, and it was supposed to be a top secret meeting for those purposes. Somebody that was involved in blacking out the windows had sent us a tip. Again, it's how people are reacting to the meeting that lets us know that it's important.
Okay. I mean, I guess
regarding the hotel, I never said it was important. Like I said, my perspective was there's 1,000 different reasons that she could have been at that base. Her mother has a contract, or had a contract, has a contract with the DOD. Erica has been open about her mother's ties to the military in the past. She actually did an interview and said that she moved to Arizona because her mother had a contract with the military. So again, weird thing is when Andrew's like, Erica wasn't in some fort, as if he's never heard of Fort Huachuca. His brother is in the military. His brother is a Captain Curtis Colvett. His first cousin is Captain Robert Colvett. So that kind of a language is why I've named this, why it suddenly really matters, right? It was sort of one episode. I didn't exactly dedicate a whole series to it. The reaction has been so almost like violently obsessed that the public is now going, oh, okay, well, it feels like there's something here. I think that's just sort of our natural instinct.
Okay. I mean, I think if you're saying that somebody is somewhere and they weren't there, then providing the alibi is not in and of itself suspicious. If the alibi is not confirmed, I guess you can be suspicious of that. But again, there's still not an answer. Like, okay, let's just say you're right. Let's just say that absolutely they were there.
Yeah.
What does that prove? What is the accusation? Because what it sounds like, and I mean, what the insinuation obviously is that this was a planning meeting for the assassination, and the people there had pre-knowledge of the assassination and were therefore in on it. So I think that if you are making that accusation, which in effect you are, right, you're in effect saying, okay, Erica Kirk and the head of TPUSA security were at this pre-assassination planning meeting.
Erica was there, so you guys have to stop repeating that. It's Erica was never at that meeting, and that's another thing. I've never said Erica was at the meeting.
She didn't say it, but Mitch said it. She didn't say it, but Mitch said it, that she was in this meeting. So what? I mean, I get it that she technically didn't say those words. She didn't say Erica Kirk was seen at this thing, right? But she did have a conversation with Mitch Snow. And Mitch Snow most definitely said, I know those blue eyes. Her hair was pulled back like a ponytail. I've seen a photo of her with her hair in a ponytail. I know those eyes. I've seen her. I seen it. She was there. 95 to 99% sure she was at that meeting. He said that. He said that. Okay? He said that. She didn't say it, but it was implied. It was definitely talked about and addressed on her show. Right? So sure, technically she didn't say it. She didn't say it, but Mitch did. And she did say, what percentage-wise, how sure are you that she was at that meeting? And he said 95 to 99%, because her blue eyes are very distinct, right? Her blue eyes are unique, right? So again, Surfer Boy. Wait, hold on. Surfer Boy said, no, bro, correction. Mitch said he saw those blue eyes at the hotel in the lobby, I thought. Well, I could have sworn he said, well, we're going to have to go back to that. Give me a second. Let me let this cook. I'm going to find that moment one more time, okay? Because we got receipts, so let's go check it out. You know what I mean? Just to make sure. But I could have sworn he said, I saw her at the meeting. Those blue eyes are unique. Her hair was pulled in a ponytail. I'm 95 to 99% sure she was there, right? So I thought it was in the meeting too. And I can see why some people are getting that confused if that is the case. But maybe it was only at the hotel. And I could be wrong. Whimsical chaos. Let me check. But let me let them cook.
Mitch has never said Erica was at that meeting. There was never an indication she was at that meeting. He did not see her on September 9th. It was Brian Harpole who was at that meeting. To my knowledge, Brian Harpole, I don't know why he would be at an intel base at a meeting with top brass. And what I can tell you is if he was there, Turning Point doesn't know he was there. According to Erica and Justin Strife, who I sat down for 4.5 hours. So if Turning Point has him on their payroll, and they've outright purchased a security firm and they don't know what he's doing on an intel base, yeah, it matters. And we don't need to know the conclusion to follow the clues here that something's wrong. So that there's this fashionable thing where people are always like, well, what's the final thing you're saying? We don't know the final thing that we're saying because that's not how an investigation works.
Well, you
have to follow the thing that's the lie. We have to follow, okay, this guy said he was here, he wasn't. What does that mean? I don't know what it means yet. I don't know what it means yet. What I'm saying is the reaction to this is not normal. Brian Harpole shouldn't be on an intel base if Turning Point doesn't know about it. And he's presented an alibi that doesn't actually cover where he was, but he felt it necessary to give an alibi. So,
but then my question is, then why would they see? That's the thing. That they need to do a full-on deep dive into Brian Harpole. That's basically what should be happening right now, right? They should be looking into Brian Harpole so hard then. If he can't give an alibi, and that's even the people with TPUSA, because at the end of the day, if he really was at the military base and he was having a one-on-one or a very private meeting on a military base without Erica Kirk, okay, let's just say that. Why aren't they looking into it like a mug right now? Not like, oh, this girl crazy. Oh, that Candace girl, she crazy. You see what she said today? Today's a new one now. She said this, that, and the third about Brian Harpole. He crazy. She crazy for saying that. Why not look into it? Why not? If he really didn't get on a plane and fly somewhere completely different. And he actually went to this base and was at this military base having a very, seems like an impromptu meeting with American military. If I was Turning Point USA, I'd be looking into this like a mug. I'd be looking into this so hard. Because you also got to remember, this is the same dude that did that interview, and he said, "Yeah, you know, we asked him if there was going to be people covering the rooftops, and he said the guy responded, said, 'We got you covered,' and then that's all I got. That's all I got." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Your job, since you are the head of security for your VIP, which is Charlie Kirk, you're supposed to follow back and basically say, 'Can you hit me back up? When you say you got it, we got it covered, what does that mean exactly? What is the detail? What do you got going on up there? Are you going to have a whole bunch of people up there so I know what's going on? Can you give me at least a breakdown of what to expect, so on and so forth?'" You see what I'm saying? Like, this is a big ass deal. You feel me? It's a big ass deal. But he said they're going, "Oh, yeah, you know, he sent me this and got me covered. And that's all he sent me. That's all." No return text message, no phone call. Remember the BS they said, "Oh yeah, you know, oh yeah," they said, we can't use drones. We weren't allowed. We in that jurisdiction, we weren't allowed to have drones. Yet you hear from Frank Turek, if I remember correctly, basically saying that Charlie Kirk was looking at drone footage on his phone, like on a little monitor, as they were pulling up to UVU. So again, it's like, wait a second. Brian Harple, if you ain't telling the full truth about some things, or if you did some shady dealings or some shady movement out here, Turning Point USA needs to be investigating the hell out of Brian Harple. I'm sorry, I'm hitting the dun-dun-dun. Think about that. That's weird, right? That's weird. Now, hold on. We're coming back to this. I'm pulling up the interview that she had with Mitch. Okay? Now, you're right. I apologize. It was at the hotel. So, Mitch is here talking about the 8th, not the 9th of September, of what he saw at the hotel that he was actually checking in at, where he thinks he sees Erica and possibly Cabot Phillips, which is wild. We later find out. So let me show you guys this video, and this is absolutely knuckin' futz as well. Okay, and you're right. He was checking into a hotel, and he saw a blonde-hair, blue-eyed girl with probably heavy mascara, like JD Vance. Okay, because they definitely have the same makeup artist. All right. And he says 95% sure, 95 to 99% sure that was Charlie Kirk's wife, which is crazy. Take a look.
On that, you can tell that there's regular military people, young kids that are there, probably just checking in to post, stuff like that. There were a couple people that stood out, and they're a little bit older. And as I'm checking in, one guy that was sitting on the couch, he just had a sheen to him. Looked like he had a professional military sheen to him. If I had to guess, being a special forces guy, I would have guessed that he's ex-special forces, probably doing, something down there, probably contract. He was definitely waiting on something. And
Age about, just so we can get a description. Age.
I'd say 33 to 40, about there, give or take. I wasn't there to check out people or check ID cards. I just happened to know him. And veterans, especially SF guys, when you notice somebody like that, I almost had the impression, so much so that I was going to go up and ask him what group he was with and say hi and thank him for his service. I didn't really get that chance. So as I'm checking in and then I go to my room and then come back out, he was joined and joined by a female that you can definitely tell when, how do you put it, when people are well off and they're dressing down. She was definitely dressing down, and it was very well kept. The one thing I noticed about the woman that really stuck out to me was her eyes. And I have an ex that has caused me a lot of problems. So when I see someone with striking blue eyes like that, they stick out. And I was on the phone with my wife here, and I even told her about it. I said, "Oh, geez, somebody has those kind of eyes." It creeped me out a little bit, and it had nothing to do with that person. Just, life is what it is. But as I was checking in, I was going to go back and actually talk to that person, the guy, and yeah, between me at the front desk and then going back to my room one time and then coming back out, I was going to go to dinner. Yeah, they had gotten into. There was a vehicle parked out front, big green truck. It looked like a real shiny GSA type. And yeah, they were getting into that vehicle and driving off. And that night I went to dinner at some a little bit crazy. People in Sierra Vista, they can probably verify there was a Mexican sushi place in Sierra Vista. So I got dinner and it was a pretty good place actually. And then I came back and went to sleep that night. Got up early the next morning, wanted to see the sunrise, reminisce about, yeah, there we go. Just reminisce about having been there a long time ago. And even stopped to talk to some of the police. They tried to give me directions to see ID, but the buildings there are they're sort of old World War II, and they're also built on top of the foundations of like almost Alamo era rocks and stuff, and some of them aren't really well marked. So his direction sort of led me off on a wild goose chase.
And I'll interject here while you're having a sip of water that this is when you accidentally take a video and it's 18 minutes long while this guy's giving you directions, which you've sent everything over. So there's no question you were here and everything happened because you tried to document this thinking you were going to get some justice from the past. And I will let you continue telling the story.
I want to make this abundantly clear. I did not speed this up. This is the video sped up. I didn't speed up this so everybody would be like, damn you for speeding up Candace. I did not speed this up. This is just the clip that I found really fast off of X, just so you know. Okay. But yes, he's so far alluding to the fact that he was in a hotel lobby. He saw a woman who clearly was like, somebody who was, affluent, made of money, but she was dressing down. She was trying to slum it, sounds like. But it was probably like Gucci everything, right? She was wearing like some Gucci jumpsuit or a jogging suit, right? It's just Gucci everywhere, right? But she was slumming it. And then he went and had Mexican sushi. I've never heard of that before in my life. But okay. Said, hey-ya! That's very interesting. It's very interesting. Interesting hybrid, but that's okay. All right? So, with that being said, he saw blue eyes. He said, it creeped him out because it made him think of his ex-wife. In your eyes, the light, the heat. You know what I'm saying? So again, let's continue.
Yeah, I was there to get help. And I was really figuring some people would have have some answers for me. I couldn't find CID, but as I'm wandering around and I finally decided, I need to get some coffee and wake up, maybe have a little breakfast. I noticed that there's some signs there that say JTF and JTF headquarters. I went in a couple of the buildings. There was nobody there yet. So I continued on. I went and got coffee, ran into some 10th Mountain people there. They said they were there for JTF. We sort of talked. I bought them coffee, I think, for their service. I asked where there would be a headquarters that I could go to speak to someone. They tried to explain it to me. I forget, they gave me a building name. And I don't necessarily we don't want to disclose that kind of stuff, but I went right back to the front gate. And as I came in, as they scanned me in with my ID card, I asked the gate guard there, where would this building be and how would I get there? He gave me detailed instructions on how to get there, how to wind around to get to that building. So I did. And it was obviously a temporary.
Okay. So again, of course, he's describing, as we heard, in the hotel lobby. All right. It's definitely different than an R. Kelly hotel lobby. But still, he went, he saw her there. Then later on, he says 95 to 99% sure that he saw her because he says her eyes are very distinct. And of course, blonde hair, blue-eyed girl. Seems like she was slumming it, trying to look like she was not, Erica Kirk, maybe. And then apparently alluding to the fact that Cabot Phillips was there too, because they used to have a thing back in the day too. Now, if that's true, that is insane. Okay. Okay. But let's continue. All right. We got to get back into this. All right, let's hear what they got to say.
I don't know, interesting, and I think we have a right to think. So, if that's
so
cool, I'm just gonna let somebody else jump in right here. Just, I think, is that okay, Harrison? Or do you want to just have a final thought there?
Sure. Okay. So Erica Kirk was not there. You don't believe that Erica Kirk was there at all.
She wasn't there on the 9th. She was not seen on the 9th. It's not about whether I believe she was there. She wasn't seen on the 9th. That was never said. He never said it. I never said it.
Okay, but she was seen on the 8th.
Yes, and not at the Intel meeting, not in the Intel, headquarters or whatever building they were using. She was not seen with the top brass, nothing like that.
So the pre-assassination planning meeting happened on the morning of the 9th. She was seen in the area on the afternoon of the 8th, but those were unrelated. She just happened to be there.
They were related because of the person she was with, who he believes looks like Cabot Phillips. He did see that person at the meeting on the 9th.
Okay, so you are saying that basically these people were there to conspire to kill Charlie Kirk, right?
I mean, you can keep saying what you're saying, or you can listen to what I'm saying. But if you want to just say what you're saying, just say it and don't put it behind you're saying. Just say, hey, I'm Harrison and I'm saying, right? It's easier, I think.
Okay, hi, I'm Harrison. What I'm saying is that in 2 months, nobody is going to remember the name Mitch Snow or Fort Huachuca, and this is not going to go anywhere, and that this is a nothing burger. I just think it's an absolute nothing burger that's not going to lead anywhere. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. You can prove me wrong. But again, my whole thing has always been that this devolves into this question of like, was he there? Was he not there? And the whole time I'm just going, what does it matter? If the conclusion is that he's a complete liar, it's the exact same outcome as proving that these people were actually there, because so far you haven't connected it to the assassination in any way whatsoever, except that maybe this guy thinks that he saw people that are around Charlie Kirk. And my whole point is, obviously the insinuation is, I mean, again, when you're saying Erica Kirk was there, but not actually there on the day, but in the area, but not because of the assassination meeting, but it's like, okay, clearly the insinuation is that these people had something to do with the assassination, and you can make that claim or not, or pretend that you are, or pretend that you're not, but you obviously are. But that's all. I don't really care about any of that.
Thanks,
but you have to.
Thank you. Let's give somebody. I think just for you to say something clearly and obviously and clearly doesn't make it clear or obvious.
Okay.
I'm following this investigation. Charlie was assassinated. I'm going to take every step, and I'm going to say what I know at the exact time that I know it. So I cannot say that it was definitively an assassination meeting. I can say that I have a feeling about this meeting, that if it is in fact Brian Harpole there and he's lying about that, then that's not good. It's not a good thing, because there's no reason to lie unless you have something to hide. But thank you so much for your feedback. I appreciate that, and hope to speak in the future. I am going to.
Okay, let's stop right there for a second. Okay, first off, he's got a point. I'm really sorry, but he has a point. Let's be real. Don't get me wrong. I understand everybody and their mama is going to be like, let her go down the track that she's going down. Fine, let her do it, because she's the only person out here that's being brave enough to actually ask the questions. And, I'm sure she's getting all kinds of crazy threats and all that. There's nothing wrong with her asking these questions. But the question I'm saying, Joe, is where's the connection, baby? Where is the connection? Connect these dots, baby. You can sit here all day long and go, Charlie Kirk, he liked pizza. Erica Kirk, she liked bubble baths. At some point, there's got to be a connection to everything. It's like, he liked drinking Perrier and reading the Bible. Congratulations. What is the connection to this, to his death? Where is the connection? Right? I think that's what we all want to know. You know what I'm saying? Israel involved. Where's the connection? France, involved. Where's the connection? It wasn't Tyler Robinson. Really? Then who did it? Where's the freaking connection? So what Harrison just said, apparently, I think he doesn't work for InfoWars anymore, or he used to. I don't know. But this guy has a very solid point. I'm not sitting here saying that I don't think that she's on the right track or onto something. She's asking all the questions. But the thing is They're all on the outside. They're all on the perimeter of the actual death of Charlie Kirk. They're all on the perimeter. And I'm going, we need to start building roads to those theories. Where's the connection? Show me the connection. All day long, you can sit there and say, bang, 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 all these different pieces of information. But if you're not connecting anything, it's for the birds. It's for the birds. You understand exactly what I'm telling you guys, fam. Okay? Fam, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And what Harrison said is a strong point. I'm not sitting here saying, damn Candace for saying anything or even asking questions. No, baby. Ask all the mother-loving questions, please, okay? So we can get down to the bottom of this. Because if it ends up being just Tyler Robinson, he really is the one who did this, and he only did this for love, oh my God, that would be insane. Then that means he had the luck of the draw. That the seas parted perfectly for him. The wind stopped blowing at the perfect time. He found the perfect spot to pull the trigger, and he did exactly what he needed to do undetected. And if the police did not put out all those photos of him looking like a melted, like he had a melted Halloween mask on his face, he'd still be out here at large. If you really think about it. He almost did the perfect crime if you really think about it. It's insane. But if he really just did this for his mother-loving trans furry lover, wow. Insane. Yes, I know Myron had some things to say. We're going to be listening to that here in a second, okay? Yeah, I know, Black Skate. I know. But we're going to get into that because here's the thing. At least she's asking questions. And here's the thing. She's having the balls to ask all the questions that we all want to have answered, or we all don't have the guts to get answered or even ask. I'm sorry. Not even having the guts to even ask the questions. But at the same time, I'm going, okay, ask the questions, but let's connect the mother-loving dots, baby. Let's make a puzzle. Let's put the pieces to the puzzle together. Let's not do all this stuff over here on the side and go, oh, it's coming together. It's coming together over here. But this whole picture, there's a big hole in it. It's like, put this mother lover right here in this puzzle so we can make a picture out of this puzzle, man. That's it. She is asking, yes, Melody, she is asking some great questions. But we need to connect the dots. Let's continue. So Harrison has a good point. And that frustrates her because he's asking questions, being like, yo, please connect the dots. And whatever Mitch said is going to mean nothing to you. It's going to mean nothing to you. You see what I'm saying? To us later on. In 2 months, this is going to be a nothing burger. It's no big deal unless she's able to connect the dots. So now challenge, hopefully she saw this as a challenge. And is she saying, oh, okay, challenge accepted, baby. I will find a way to connect these dots. Give me time, and I will. And hopefully she does. And if she doesn't, then it will be a nothing burger. Moving on, though.
Allow Ian, did you want to jump in here?
Depends on what you want to talk about. I had to jump in late. I was in a different meeting when I got some text messages of like, yo, get in here.
Oh, yeah. I was just mentioning, I was giving the timeline and just telling people when you and I had the call. And you were kind of just trying to give me a heads up about, Valhalla, I think it was Valhalla, right? That wanted to speak with me about Mitch and that his backstory was stolen valor. I wasn't sure if I got something wrong, but I thought it was Valhalla, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been trying to get a hold of you. I'm like a regular conduit for people trying to get a hold of you. You know how it is?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, definitely there's been, it was once things started to fire up, people were starting to talk about like what they saw as holes in Mitch's story.
Yeah.
And it's been very interesting to watch how that has evolved on channels like Paramount Tactical, especially.
Yeah. And now I don't know if it's evolving or devolving.
Yeah.
But
I do want to say though, real quick though, is that I was expecting Valhalla to go way more off the rail. Like he definitely voiced his opinion when he did his episode with all of his evidence. He definitely came out hot and voiced his opinion. But I actually was pleasantly surprised by how Valhalla did that, in the sense that based on what he knew and the source that he had, he condemned what he saw as what Mitch was and what Mitch's actions were. but he also didn't like. I felt glad that he didn't overstep himself and kind of blow up on you too hard and try to like over extrapolate what he was showing. But I also have been watching what other people have been bringing out about Mitch since then that seemed to make me question whether what Valhalla had was the whole story. So I'm just kind of sitting back.
Yeah, and that was also another thing. I think that's a good point, Ian. Was like people that were pretending that they were speaking to like his like baby mamas and his son that he hasn't spoken to since he was 2, by the way. So if he hasn't spoken to him since he was 2, the implication is his son knows his father through his mother. That's like what happens when you don't speak to your father since you were 2. But it is interesting that they didn't do any background checks on the women. Who then I saw, and I didn't want to again get dragged down in the mud, but like they had, had accused a few men, but they stayed away from that. It was like, no, like this is what's out there about Mitch. And that's why I was saying to you, like, I was like, this feels to me like a way to distract from what I basically am trying to do, which is I feel like I'm the only one that's actually trying to debunk Mitch, going to Brian Harpole, going to Turning Point USA and saying, hey, like, give me something. I'm happy for this to be wrong. Whereas everyone else seems to just be trying to distract. I do want to let, let's do Ryan and then Isabella, and then we'll do Diligent Denizen. I think that's right.
Diligent, actually, his app kicked him down. You should re-add him.
I did.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Candace, I'm just jumping in here listening right now, so I'm going to hang out for a minute, and then
Cool.
I'll jump in at the end.
Cool. Awesome. Isabella, did you want to jump in here?
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me up here. It's been a lot of debate going on with this, and I think Harrison did bring up some good points, and I've been really interested in the drama between you and Evan, and I'm curious, so Morgan and Evan are friends, and did she just randomly reach out to you and let you know this? Because that's a little shady on her part with Evan.
No, she didn't. She actually did it by accident. So she, I don't know her at all. I think she's had a pretty good opinion about stuff, and she's definitely kind of been one of the early people on saying how she was treated when she started talking about Israel. And so I think what happened was we should definitely separate Evan from Israel, Evan from Morgan. Morgan kind of, it seemed weird because it was like nothing happened, and then they both kind of wrote these statements. And you don't actually have to, break up with anybody on X. That you can just just not agree with something. I don't know. I never feel like the need to write like a very long statement if I disagree with something, a commentator that I'm listening to. I'm like, kind of like, I listen to. Yeah. Like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I'm never like, for a long time, I've really loved Matt Walsh, but his take, it's like, I don't know. So I think it seemed a little extra to people on the outside that were looking in. And it was at the same time. And so I messaged her and I was like, I follow you. You could just message me if you thought some part of your story wasn't real. And I sent her some docs about the cartel person. I was like, he sent me so many docs that like his story is real. Like, I don't, this happened. Here are the medals he received. I obviously did my due diligence. And she said, thank you. And then she was sending me a clip of, it was just a clip of Paramount Tactical. And I think she was sending it because she was like, oh, look what his son is saying. But actually, I found it interesting because the son then confirmed the story, like that he was on Fort Huachuca Air Base. And she didn't realize that when she screen recorded, her text messages were coming in from Evan. And he was like saying what he was going to post. So I think it was just honestly an innocent mistake. But I was then like, okay, it looks weird that you both posted this. And now it looks like you're kind of coordinating it. And I think people felt it was coordinated because it's not a natural thing to do. Now, Evan, the reason I say I would separate him is just because like, he's just lying. Like, he's like, this has been debunked. It hasn't been debunked. He's like defending Alex Jones and saying, oh, Alex Jones did say that, you met your husband through PJW. I'm like, no, he didn't say that. So he seems like he's being intentionally dishonest about stuff. She kind of just made one statement. Timing was a bit weird. That's kind of how that happened.
Interesting. Okay. And then something else, like with what Evan is claiming, it kind of just reminds me of, there's a man that's coming into prominence, and then you see a bunch of women come out, Me Too. It's like, okay, maybe Mitch is not, maybe he's not correct, maybe he's lying, but he does seem to have more evidence supporting what he's saying than these random disgruntled women. So I'm not saying that it's incorrect, that they're wrong, but I feel like we should be remembering that, hey, this is what these like women do, and the government will get behind them and kind of push them to say these Me Too things to discredit people. So
right. And the thing is and correct me if I'm wrong, but like there were no convictions. So it feels like we're getting involved in somebody's divorce and somebody's like, man, like it's just not my business.
It's always messy.
It's not my business. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry to say I don't care, but I don't care. I care about who killed Charlie Kirk. I care about whether what he said he saw in Fort Huachuca is real or not. And every other piece of the story checked out. Like, I got the military police report, so this just feels like mud, you know? And look, like I said to Ian, I said, look, if your buddy Gary wants to do, like, you know, Becoming Mitch 9 seasons, let him do it. You know, everybody has to follow, like, what is their passionate life. And I was like, I just personally don't care. And so I encourage everybody who is feeling passionately against Mitch to go down that rabbit hole. I am focused on what happened that day. And thus far, nothing Mitch has said to me has not checked out. And even, they won't even admit that they, like, you know, lied about some stuff in the past. Like when Ian was contacted, they were like, it's stolen valor. He wasn't a Green Beret. And then they like casually admitted on their show, okay, no, he was a Green Beret. But I'm embarrassed he was a Green Beret because look at these female and their allegations, but we're not going to mention all the allegations that exist with these women. Like that just feels like, it does feel like Me Too. And I'm just not interested in it. Morgan just actually jumped on. So I do want to add her as a speaker. And Morgan, you sort of missed maybe some of this, but I did just sort of run people through what happened and kind of said, like, I kind of view what you and Evan did to be different. And, you know, I think for everybody, it was just sort of the timing of you guys, like, and the style of needing to announce it, I think was a bit different. And I think that's why you kind of got the reaction that you did. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to have the floor and say what you wanted to. Morgan?
Oh, hi. I didn't know that you were talking to me. I'm sorry. How are you?
Yeah,
How is everybody?
good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I feel like has been trying to pit us against one another for some reason. And I keep reiterating, I have no issues with Candace. I'm still 100% on board with the investigation. I have my reservations about Mitch, and I feel like I should be able to voice those concerns. And I know that a lot of people don't care about his past or his history, or I don't even want to say only his history, because currently it's my understanding that he does have open cases. But when we're looking at, you know, somebody's credibility, how can we find them credible if the only thing that we have to take is their word for something? And right now it's he said, she said. He said that he saw people there and we can only take his word for it. And when you have every single person in his life, not only the exes, but his children, who he's never had custody of any of them, they all say the same thing, that he's a pathological liar. I have trouble trusting an individual like that. And I just want to make sure that we stay on track in finding out what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. And so,
by the way, I don't know who Morgan is. With all due respect, I don't know who this is. If somebody knows who this Morgan person is, that'd be helpful. But I don't know who this is. Honestly, I don't. No, like I said, not trying to be rude. I just don't know who this Morgan person is and what she has to do with this whole thing, unless she just has a prominent X account. You know what I mean? Where she does a lot of updates and stuff like that. But let's continue on.
I think what I would offer back is that's what we have been doing. So rather than speaking to his son, I contacted people on the base, you know, like, okay, he said that somebody named Neff, which is what he said initially in contacting me, Captain Neff was the one who questioned him. So rather than speaking to his son from 22 years ago, I think the people would say, why don't you speak to somebody who's on Fort Huachuca base now and see if there's a Captain Neff there? And that's what we did. And we confirmed that Captain Neff and the 10th Brigade was there. He said it was in an offsite building, a JTF offsite building. We spoke to people at the base and they told us this is the exact building. Here's where it is in the map. And they are borrowing the space. He told us that this incident happened and the bomb dogs were called. So I made an effort and successfully got the police report. That's how we verify whether or not he's a pathological liar, is by verifying what he said. Right.
Okay. And I'm going to skip ahead. Okay. I'm going to skip ahead because I want to get to the other stuff here. So we're going to get to the more of the meat and potatoes here.
Yeah, we'll see. Mel, would you like to jump into the foray?
Yes, thank you so much for having me real quick. So I just want to say, you know, I get everybody's kind of hesitation with Mitch. Having been married to a Green Beret, having been around the military my entire life, I have seen all of this, all of it. Okay. So I was a lot like you, Candace. I was like, I actually don't care. I don't care about any of the background, anything like that. All I know is that this man has made very specific allegations against very specific people with a time and a date. This is very easy to debunk. Very easy, right? He actually, in a way, set you up that could have made you look like a fool. And now we
still can. He still can make her look like a fool. I'm just letting you guys know. He could still make her look like a boo-boo the fool. Trust and believe. Let me just see. Let me get ahead.
If you don't know Harrison, then you can just keep watching the show. Like, you're not required to, like, you know, like, if you're not sure where it's going to go, like, that's kind of the point of just, like, we're all kind of investigating this together. You know what I mean? We've been crowdsourcing this investigation. We have smaller pieces, and the smaller pieces become bigger pieces. You know, do I...
It's been
Hold on.
Like, no.
where you're getting this idea that I'm saying don't do research or anything like that. I am confused why it's been a week of talking about this meeting and I still am not.
You guys are the ones talking about it.
It's been
I've been off air for 8 days. Like,
it's been 3 months. I know, but it's been I know.
For 8 days. You guys have been on InfoWars calling me a fraud, this, that, saying my husband's an MI6. Like, what do you mean? Why is this a conversation? Because you won't let it go. I had him on the show. That was it. You know, we were investigating things behind the scenes, like, you know, reaching out, like, he had already reached out to people for allies before I even had him on. You know, like, hey, this guy said this, whatever. And then all of a sudden you guys every day are obsessing over it and making up lies. Like, you guys are the reason it's big. Like, respectfully, like, this is the work of you and Alex Jones and Paramount Tactical and Baby Mamas from 2000. Like, you know, you guys made it a thing. You guys made fetch.
As a
You
friend
know what
of
I mean?
both sides, can I hop in and mediate real quick?
Yeah.
Because I think, firstly, I think that a lot of people come at this journalism from different angles because, and obviously I can't speak for either of you, but Harrison does more of reporting on what's already happened, and Candace tends to make her career out of reporting on trying to figure out what is the next end of the story. And you guys, you know, you both stray into both lanes. But also I want to draw the distinction that Harrison has not been making all the same claims as Alex all the time. Alex is definitely a distinct voice from Harrison, and I've always really respected Harrison. I'm not saying that I actually disagree with him on this take, but I do think that he's not the whole InfoWars crew, and the whole InfoWars crew isn't Alex Jones, and Harrison's reporting hasn't been the same as Alex this whole time.
Right.
But also, I think there might be a little bit of coming at investigations from different angles from the nature of the journalism that you guys both do.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think we've been pretty fair. Personally, I definitely have been fair as far as like not conflating Harrison and Alex, and for like reasons I can't, because I feel like I've
that turning point USA is just telling a lot of lies, and you don't tell a lot of lies. The whole world got behind Turning Point USA when Charlie got shot. Like there wasn't a single person who was not rooting for Turning Point USA on September.
On this particular story, the Fort Huachuca story, all of a sudden I've been airdropped this detail that one of the top members of Charlie Kirk's security detail is at an Army intelligence base the day before Charlie's assassinated. Now, that's a detail. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if it's important or not important, but that's a detail. That is a definite detail because Brian Harpole's job is to protect Charlie Kirk.
Right.
That's his job. That's his job as one of the top members of this security detail is to protect Charlie Kirk, who the next day was assassinated. So, like, this is an important detail. What is one of the top members of the security detail doing at an Army intelligence base the day before? It might not mean anything, but maybe it means something. What does it mean? I don't know. I have to investigate it. Now, how does Andrew Colbert come into this? I'm reminded of the fact that he told you, Candace, that you and Tucker were on some list and possibly in danger. Well, so now I'm thinking in my mind, well, maybe he was at some sort of security briefing. Maybe they had some intel that people were in danger. Maybe that's what he was doing there. Like, I don't know, but it has to be investigated. It has to be sussed out. It could mean something. It might not mean anything. But just to address Harrison, and I like Harrison. Harrison's been good to me. No problem with him there. So that's what I'm just from my own perspective as an outside observer. I've been airdropped this story, this detail, which has now mushroomed. It's like a big mushroom cloud now for several days. It's run wild, people on all sides fighting over it. It's become a thing. And now I have to grapple with this thing. Does it mean anything? Does it not mean anything? How can I verify it? And I'm at the mercy of Mitch's recollection. I'm at the mercy of the TPUSA folks, Erica, Cabot, and Brian Harpole. And I'm faced with a situation now where they've turned it into something bigger than it needed to be, if indeed it is nothing. If it's nothing, all they had to do was debunk it. And not only that, but like They could have like slam dunked the ball in your face, Candace, and made you look silly and stupid. And they left that money on the table. Right. And for the people who said, well, I'm not going to they don't need to dignify this. They already dignified this by giving half-assed non-debunking debunkings. I didn't ask them to do that. They did that. They made this more important and relevant than it needed to be. I didn't ask for them to do that. So now as an outside observer, I have to grapple with like, okay, you made it bigger than it had to be. Like, what does that mean? I don't know if it means anything, but now it's a thing. Now it's a thing that I have to deal with.
That is how everyone feels. Like you are voicing exactly how everybody feels. We didn't know what it was going to lead to. And I was like, I mean, I couldn't have been more deferential in saying that this could literally lead to nothing, but like, because of this weird prayer and the way it came in, I think that we should follow it. The reaction has now made this feel so crucial. And it, again, why you do not need to wheel and deal behind the scenes, Andrew Colbert. And if Erica, as she did, is going to hand me Brian Harple's alibi, then they care to clarify it, right?
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, what he said, the guy just said this, I don't know who that is, but he's got a good point. Right? They've had ample opportunity to make her look like an absolute fool, and they haven't done that. That's weird. That is very weird. Unless they got bigger things to worry about and they got bigger fish to fry, like a book to sell and T-shirts to sell. I don't know, but it seems weird that they wouldn't go out of their way to be like, listen, okay, all right, here it is, guys. Brian Harple, he was on the plane somewhere else. Here's the receipts. There it is. What do you got to say about that, Candace Owens? You see what I'm saying? They could have easily just been using this opportunity to make her look bad and dethrone her. Literally destroy her entire platform. But have they done that? Hail to the no. Okay? Hail to the no. I'm going to scoot ahead a little bit because I want to get to the meat and potatoes of some of these other people. Commenting and whatnot. Hold on.
More questions than answers. And
here it is. Here's Myron.
Like I want to know that.
Well, right. I totally agree. Myron, I'm going to let you jump in here too.
I know that guy's voice so well. Myron's voice, fresh and fit. He is come into the chat. Here we go.
I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me good, or am I coming in? Yeah, so I'll be very brief here. We're all here for the same reason, right? We all don't believe the official narrative is someone that used to work for the federal government and understands how investigations work. The official narrative has created more questions than answers. And Candace, kudos to you for going out there and trying to find those answers. And I think it's very important that people understand that when you're doing investigations, you're going to go down many different roads, right? You're going to talk to bad informants that might have ulterior motives. You're going to talk to people that are going to give you misleading information. You're going to do a records check here, and it might lead you somewhere that was completely not relevant to what's going on. Like, the thing that sucks here is that you're doing this investigation with millions of people watching you, and they're going to, try to say, oh, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, blah, blah, blah. The benefit, right, of being a criminal investigator a lot of the times is we work in the shadows, we do our investigation, we go down many different holes, then we come down with an indictment and an arrest warrant after we connect everything. Unfortunately, right, for you, Candace, you have a bunch of critics that want to sit there and say, well, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. I think you've done a great job of trying to find the truth, and people are going to criticize and talk shit. And I think we're all here for the same reasons. The official narrative doesn't add up. They haven't been transparent. And that's why people are doing their own independent investigation. And the federal government's failed with being transparent with the people, and the people don't trust the government anymore. This is really an L for the G. So keep doing what you're doing. I know people are going to hate, and I think your heart's in the right place, and you're really trying to find answers here. And yeah, there's going to be, roads that sometimes don't lead where it's supposed to go, or roads that may be questionable. But I think talking to everybody and trying to get the full picture and being transparent about it is the way to go. So keep doing what you're doing.
So here's the thing. It's not every day that I agree with Myron Gaines. Okay. But I agree with him with what he's saying here. 110%. But so here's the thing. It's true. A lot of investigation that's done by police and FBI and God knows what, if FBI is actually doing the investigating. But most of the time, they're doing their due diligence. And they're going down rabbit holes that end up being empty, or they go down roads that are dead ends, right? I keep saying this as a perfect example, but perfect example is the TV show Law and Order Special Victims Unit. The SVU show, right? With Ice-T and Olivia and all of them, right? Now that show's turned into a soap opera, but before it would be basically solely on the case. Every single episode was about a new whatever, right? A new crime, a new case, whatever. And they would go down certain rabbit holes, they would follow certain leads. And those leads would lead sometimes to nothing. And they would have to go back to the drawing board and find another clue. And it might be something so minute, so little, that leads them to getting the bad guy, right? And they always have to wrap it up within an hour. But in reality, in the real world, these detectives and these cops and all that, they're doing all what they can, and they're going down so many paths that end up becoming dead ends for them in real life. The only difference is that they don't have a peanut gallery watching every single option, every single question being asked in real time. That's the only difference. You see what I'm saying? We don't hear about that behind closed doors within the FBI or the police when they're doing investigations. We don't see that. We are seeing her, Planet Zeb, like we're seeing her literally thinking out loud in real time. And she's like, I'm getting all of these clues, and here are all of them. But at the same time, now we're at this place where it's been 3 months. It's been 3 solid months of her being like, I am going scorched earth. I will stop at nothing. No stone will be unturned to find the truth of what happened to Charlie, because I think that his life was taken, and this is wrong, right? But it's been 3 months. And I know that some other investigations take 30 some odd years. But we're seeing all this in real time. And every week, it seems like she's throwing in a new curveball, a new option, a new possibility. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that the peanut gallery is getting a little antsy now. And they're sitting here saying, okay, you could point the blame. You could point fingers at Erica Kirk or TPUSA, Israel, France, America as well. But now you got to start connecting the dots. Some dots, or at least tell us what are the things that are nothing that you're about to throw away, and what are the things that are still staying prominent and still think that that you still believe have leads that you need to hunt down. How about that? Because let's be real, she has thrown so many things against the wall, so many things, and now we're going, well, what is what? You know what I'm saying? What is what? What's sticking on the wall and what's not sticking on the wall? Do you have anything that's sticking on the wall that can literally be a connection to the unaliving of Charlie Kirk? Please connect the dots, man. Just connect the dots. But she hasn't done that yet. And that's why people are getting frustrated, because you can sit here all day long and be like, oh, Erica Kirk had something to do with it. Really? Where's the connection? Where is it? I think we all have the right to be asking that question at this particular part, at this particular juncture of Candace Owens' investigation, right? Let's play a little bit more of this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yeah, it's hard. I mean, we have a really small team. I think people forget, like, there's 4 of us, and it's so much work.
And none of them have investigative experience. I'm sure none of them are ex-cops or detectives or anything of that sort. They're just regular Joe Schmoes that probably edit her videos and receive emails and read her emails for her. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's another piece to think about too.
And we're investigating every lead, and there have been so many that have led nowhere, by the way. I mean, you can imagine you're getting 50,000 emails, and some people just want to write hate stuff. Some people are giving you tips, and we're building those pictures in the backgrounds. We have so many leads that are still being worked on from a long time ago, and we have to get on the phone with people, and we have to ask for verification, and we have to get when we get paperwork, we then have to verify if the paperwork is real, because I don't have expertise. And then I present something and I misspeak and I say E4 instead of 05 or 06, whatever. And the next thing you know, you get 1,000 emails of people telling you like you're an idiot. It's hard. And people also, I think, forget, and this is not like a woe is me pity party, but like, Charlie was my friend. Like, you know, I went through a very real stage of grief. I'm still going through it in many ways because I don't know what happened. Like, there's something that feels very unresolved about it. And he just shouldn't have been taken out like that. Okay. And their anger, which I think you guys have seen that last week or whatever, like to see people like Ben Shapiro get on stage and pretend they were his friend. Like, you don't know what that does to me spiritually. Like, I just want to fight. Like, I want to physically get into a fight. That is like, it's just not okay. And there's something that is so grotesque about it at its core. There is something that is, it is so, it's almost satanic, right? I look at politics now and it makes me want to vomit. Like to realize what they turned him into after, like they did not view this man as a human being. They did not care about Charlie at all. It was like he either was going to get them a check or he wasn't, you know. And that even for me, like the ick I get from turning points, like, you know, that man did not like that man. So what are you doing? Is this really just about like who writes you a check and gives you, like, they can just buy a friendship with Charlie? Like it angers me, and I still have to like contend with that anger, that upset, and also trying to, okay, let me divert the energy into this investigation and trying to figure it out. So I do ask you guys to just recognize that, you know, like to recognize that there's a lot going on. And I will always, if I get something wrong, which is what I was open to doing, like I said to Ian, I was like, if you want to send me an email and he has the smoking gun proof that he wasn't even a Green Beret, I will run it and I will own it. But that's not the case. And so it just feels like heady. Like if you're going to use your energy, like, we don't need you finding his exes, man. Like, we really could use your help. Like, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, look, professional criminal investigators don't get it right a lot of the times. There's a reason why a lot of cases don't get solved. You know, people don't get indicted. They don't get charged. It's not easy to run an investigation. It's even harder to do it with a million people trying to Monday morning quarterback everything that you do and criticize every single thing that you do. So I totally understand coming from that world myself. So look, you know, you're trying to find the truth. I think you've been good about transparent. Like if you make a mistake, you correct it. And, you know, one of the negatives is you're out there in front of everyone. So people are going to give their opinions, and that's the negative.
Yep, you're right. Ryan, we'll go to you and then we'll go to Diligent Denizen.
Yeah, no, I just want to tell you, thank you, Candace, for everything that you're doing. You know, we all appreciate, you know, at least one person out there that
You
seems
too,
like they want to
Ryan.
find the
You've been
truth.
crushing it. You've been absolutely crushing it.
This is Ryan Mata. I've been seeing a lot of his stuff, like whatever I type in on X, you know, Candace Owens, like a lot of his videos are popping up with her alongside of hers as well. Yeah, he's got a very interesting take as well, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. You know, and I think that the thing that upsets, I think, most Americans is the fact that you're doing the job that we expect Turning Point to be doing, right? Like this was Charlie's organization, and you're the one out here asking the questions, and they're almost seem like they're just content with whatever Fed slop narrative we get, and they're ready to move on and get the party started and go on to the next event and the next whatever.
I agree with that 110%. It's weird. It's almost like they're just like, okay, well, you know, if Cash Patel says that they got the guy, then they got the guy. We're done. Let's move on. Buy this t-shirt, though. And don't forget to buy, you know, stop in the name of God. Like, what's going on here? It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. You'd think that they would be doing what Candace Owens is doing. Asking all the questions. Doing all that stuff. No stone unturned, etc. Stopping at nothing. But they're not doing that. That's weird. That's weird. They're not even asking questions. They're like, okay, it is what it is. That's all it is. Huh. Unless what they have is what they have. Unless Tyler Perry. Woo. Tyler Perry's in a whole can of worms himself. We're going to have to talk about that tomorrow. But still, you'd think, right, that they'd be asking questions instead of not only just saying, like, you know, he was a martyr, buy his shirt and his book, buy the book, support his widow, buy the book. Like, you know what I'm saying? You'd think that they would at some point now be like, yeah, things are weird. Why did this happen the way it went down? Candace Owens is asking some good questions. Why aren't we asking those same damn questions? Right? Tyler Robinson just did this all himself. And it was solely because of love. Love. Or how the kids do it. I don't know. They do some weird thing now. It's like this, which is weird. Why the little kids do that? Why the youngins doing this? This is a lot of work. Just do this, you know? But still, why? Why? Why aren't they asking questions? I think they should be. Erica should literally go and be asking questions as well. But I digress.
And it makes me feel anyways, like that turning point and the amount of people that are going after and attacking you for trying to just find answers makes me think that turning point's something much bigger, that it feels like it's a giant money laundering operation, that it's a political machine, and that Charlie was just a pawn, right? That he almost didn't even know everything that was going on within his own organization. It got way too big for one man to follow everything. And some shady shit seems like it was going on behind the scenes. And I think there's a lot of key players that were involved in some shady shit that are more, they're incentivized to just kind of sweep this under the rug and buy the Fed Slav narrative because they don't want any attention shined on whatever shady shit that they were doing. And I think that's why Charlie was putting Doge together. And I'll land it there.
And I got a really big tip on that Doge investigation. I think there was something there. I think if this pans out, and it looks like it is panning out, Charlie discovered that there was a lot of money that was missing.
Charlie, what? He found millions that were missing? Hold on.
Charlie was putting Doge together. And I'll land it there.
And I got a really big tip on that Doge investigation. I think there was something there. I think if this pans out, and it looks like it is panning out, Charlie discovered that there was a lot of money that was missing. And again, I'm trying to encourage this person to speak out. So again, one of the balls that's been in the air that I've been slowly working on, but I think all of our instincts have been correct, that there's a lot more than ETI. And there's just been a lot of people that have been basically saying to us, these cheap tactics, to even question anything means that you are not you have to just accept.
Sorry, guys, I'm making it work with everything.
Myron, you got to turn yourself off. Your mute on. I can mute your mic. Actually, that's a great ad. So it definitely feels really weird. Diligent. Let's go to you, Diligent Denizen.
Yo, if that's the case, if that's true, then that makes things very interesting, don't you think? I gotta hit it one more time. Now imagine if there was a situation where it was a money situation. Remember, allegedly, Israel was about to drop about $150 million. This is what is being alleged to Turning Point USA. But Charlie Kirk turned it down. He turned that money down. And then he lost his life. Now, is there a connection between that? Or does it happen to be that the chips fell where they may, exactly how they went? Or, could this all just be a coinky dink? Could it be a coinky dink that he lost his life right around the time that he said, I don't want that Israel money. I don't want $150 million from them. No, because I want to be able to talk or bring anybody on to talk about whatever they want to talk about. Right? Now, from what I heard, it was a lot of money. Now, I could have the number 150 million wrong, but it was a lot of money from what I understand. Whole lots of money that was going to be offered by Israel. And then Charlie Kirk turned it down. And then later on, not far long, he loses his life. I'm just saying. And remember the text messages that Andrew Colvett sent to Candace Owens, basically saying in the conversation, okay, that they were basically saying, my Jewish donors don't like the idea of Tucker Carlson being on the show. And he's like, see, this is the problem I'm having with my Jewish donors. I might have to just step away from supporting their cause or supporting their narrative. Something along the lines of that. He said, I'm done. I'm out. I'm done. Right? And then days later, gone. And guess what? You got people on America Fest that are hardcore Israel first or supportive of Israel, right? In that event. They brought in Tucker Carlson to spice it up, I guess. But majority of the people that were up there speaking at America Fest were mostly Zionists, as they call them, right? Very wild stuff. Again, very, very wild stuff. But again, the fact that she's sitting here saying that he saw that millions were missing before he lost his life, yeah, that's something to look into. Could this all straight up just be about Maonis? Or does it have something to do with power? Or is it both? Is it Israel involved? Is it French? Is it France? Is it American government? What's going on, right? I got questions here too. Let me see. I got a DM, so let me take a look. And yes, we already talked about, let me just say this really quick. We already talked about Camila Mendoza Olmos. We already talked about that when it broke. We were live when it broke. So I talked about that about an hour and a half ago, just so y'all know. So please go check that out. I talked about it. Yes, may she rest in peace. Her body has been found. Well, a body has been found. It has not been identified yet. As of when we saw about an hour and a half ago, the news of her life, like her being, this body being found. They said that they found a firearm near her body. And of course, they said this was a self situation. So just so you know, we already talked about it. I already know about it. Thank you so much for letting me know. But if you don't know about it, scroll back about an hour and a half from here. And you could see the press conference, because we did a chunk of the press conference and talked about the this unfortunate update. Okay, but they said that Camila Mendoza Olmos's body has been, well, I believe her body has been found. Let's just say that. Okay, and they also said that there was a firearm near her body, so she did have a firearm, guys. Exactly what I said before. When I said she's going into that car for a reason. And I think she went into that car to get a weapon. That's what I said. Maybe she's there for a weapon, something of that sort. Something strange. But this is bad and very sad. So may she rest in peace. Because I know a lot of y'all have been like saying that in the chat. And we already talked about it. And I will be pulling that out and putting that on the clips page so you guys can see that as well after this show is done, okay? But let's take a look at this. This is something interesting. I don't know if I can watch this whole thing right now. I have been doing because it is a half an hour video. I'm going to have to watch this on another time and watch this with y'all when we have some time, when we are talking about the Charlie Kirk investigation and to talk about the Charlie Kirk situation for sure. So thank you so much for sending it to me. I will take a look at this when I get some free time for sure. Okay. But again, guys, pretty insane stuff, pretty insane information. And here's the thing. Another thing that I agree with Myron on, very rare, but I want to say this. Okay. Everyone is tuning in. 144,000 people were tuning in for one reason and one reason only. We all feel that we have not been getting told the truth, that we're not getting the full picture. And the full picture could be as simple and as easy as Tyler Robinson did this, which I still think he did, but he didn't do it alone. Why did he do this? This is the reason why I think we all want to know more information. Why did he do this? How was he radicalized? How was he swayed to do what he ended up doing? You mean to tell me he just woke up one day and said, yep, I'm going to take out Charlie Kirk today? That just sounds insane to me. It doesn't seem like it fully computes. Something had happened. Either it's connected to TPUSA or it's connected to Israel or France or the American government, or it's some crazy radicalized group that radicalized him into doing what he did. But nonetheless, the dots need to start getting connected. And sure, the text messages that he sent to his furry lover could very well be what he said. Oh, my love, must retrieve my pawpaw's rifle, and I shall return into your furry little arms, my beautiful, beautiful furry man. That could very well be what it is. But at the same time, The dots are not connecting even with that. He turned himself in. There's no footage of him turning himself in. Why? That's weird. Of all things under this wild conspiratorial world that we're dealing with, this whole case, the one thing that we could have that would give us some solace would be footage of him actually turning his ass in. But they have no footage of that. Why? Do you realize that that makes everybody go on here and just twist on that tinfoil hat even tighter on their heads? They're like, nope, this mother lover's staying on. It doesn't matter how hard the wind blows. It's going to be screwed on so damn tight. Why? Because of stuff like that. Because there's holes, deliberate holes in the case that make no earthly sense. That's the reason why you see the likes of Candace Owens and other people, I don't know, the Valhallas, the la-la-las, and whoever else out here, the Ians and the such and suches, the Harrisons, all coming together and starting to ask questions. And some are pushing back and being like, Candace, you out of pocket for that one, right? But everybody's sitting here going, well, at least somebody's asking the doggone questions, man. Can we blame her for asking the questions? No, I don't think it's wrong for her to ask the questions. I think it's reckless when she starts sitting there saying, they've done it. They betrayed Charlie Kirk. Well, how did they betray Charlie Kirk? Do you have the receipts? Can you freaking pin the nail? Can you pin the tail on the mother-loving donkey? Okay, that's what I'd like to know. Pin the mother-loving tail on the donkey. Just do it. Connect this mother lover and be done. I think we all would like to have that. Instead of too many speculations, too many theories, to the point where all of our heads are spinning. And then all the while, we're watching MAGA lose their minds. Like, I feel like we're watching the Karen Reed trial before the trial even happens, okay? Like, they're all just starting to go after each other. Real talk, because you got people who will sit there and say, free Karen, and other people would be like, no, lock her ass up. And then they all meet in the middle like this is, like this is, I don't know, Avengers Endgame, okay? It's insane. It's insane. But I think the majority of us feel that how Charlie Kirk lost his life is strange. How he lost his life is questionable, mysterious, and we all just want answers. Hopefully we get some answers here very soon. It's frustrating, guys. It's definitely frustrating. But let me get, yeah, she said no dating, no drinking when she out here bumping uglies. You know what I'm saying? She was out here bumping uglies, real talk. But let me get some of these super chats here really quick. Mama for Coffee, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. I think he paid $100K to speak. That's insane that Ben Shapiro spent monies to actually speak. He really wanted those voices. Or those listeners. That's all. That's why he's like, I'm about to blow the lid off of this, and everyone's going to be like, who is this Ben Shapiro mother lover? I like him. He crazy. And he said glazed. He said glazed. Oh, I'm listening to him now. He got my ears. He talks like me. He's young. Which is even weirder to me. He needed his message out real bad. Yeah, you ain't wrong with that. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong with that. He definitely was desperately trying to get his name out there because he's losing viewers. He's losing listeners. People aren't listening to him anymore. So now he says glaze. I'm still waiting for him to be like, hey, young kids, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? I'm still waiting for that stuff. You know, want to go down to the local soda shop and grab a soda, something crazy, right? But dear God, Rook, what up, man? Thank you so much for being a member for 27 months. Thank you so much for the love. Hi, family of Pascal. Hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. Yes, same to you, man. I'm so ready to celebrate New Year's. Yeah, I'm ready for 2025 to be done. Okay, tomorrow is big because it's New Year's Eve. Okay, today's the eve of New Year's Eve, but tomorrow's New Year's Eve. It's going to be a big day. So let me just say this too. Please be safe. Everyone, please be safe. Okay? Be safe out there because I don't know. New Year's might be crazy and not in a good way. Not like, oh my God, I can't remember what happened last night. It was crazy, man. One of the best nights of my life. I don't know if it's going to be like that. So be safe out there, guys. Okay? It won't be that kind of good time. All right? Black Skate, thank you so much for the love. I hear you, Pascal, but Myron had a good point about that later in the call, which we just talked about. I threw up in my mouth a little bit by saying Myron had a point, by the way. Yeah, I feel your pain. I feel your pain 110%, Black Skate, because I'm like, damn, he's got a good point there, though. But okay. It's low-hanging fruit. It's a low-hanging fruit good point. So we'll give it to him. Again, Blaskate, you have two more, so I'm going to just go through them. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Harrison works for AJ. Alex Jones, which we already talked about. Yes. So I was a bit leery about him trying to tie her down to say something as factual before she knows for sure, so they could trip her up later. Well, I mean, I think that they're trying to find out what's going on, just like everybody else. And they're sitting there going, hey, can you please connect the dots, right? Can you please start connecting the dots? Why did you bring this guy on? Why this fort meeting? If it really is a big deal, can you please connect the dots? And I think what Harrison said was fair. I think it was a fair question. And she needs that pushback, guys. I'm sorry. She needs somebody to kind of give her a swift, light kick on the booty. You know what I mean? Just light a fire under her ass. Like, come on, let's go. Connect the dots. Let's start connecting the dots, you know? And of course, she's been doing it very episodic, like, wait for this episode. It's about to blow your wig back. And we all wait for it. But it's still going like, where are the connections? Where are the moments when the dots are connecting to this whole situation? Please and thank you. And I think that is the situation that Harrison was doing. Hey, the general consensus, which is what we all think. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure everybody out there just is fine with her waxing conspiracy every single episode. That's fine. If that's what you want, go ahead, baby. You know what I mean? Ladies and germs, enjoy. But for me, I'm like, I'm listening because I want to hear facts. I want to hear her actually connecting the dots. And I want her to bring people on that are going to confirm or deny the theories that she has on her show every day for the past 3 months, since the day Charlie Kirk lost his life, right? I'm just saying. You're going scorched earth, fine. Start connecting the dots now. Because you got a lot of things. You're spinning a lot of plates. And a lot of these plates, you can either put them away, or are you just going to let them keep spinning and fall apart, fall off and break? You have a choice. Okay, we don't need this plate. We don't need that plate. Okay, we good on that plate. Those theories were wrong. But these other theories I have here, Egyptian planes and this, that, and the third, we still on them. I got somebody on that's going to come into the show to talk about this particular thing, the Egyptian planes. We're going to talk about it. Okay, stay tuned on Wednesday, going down live. You see what I'm saying? And just be done with it. Connect the dots. Harrison has a good point on that. Is the meeting or interview that she had with Mitch Snow a fugazi that we're just going to forget about in 2 months? Or was it something heavy? Confirm it. That's it. Bring on Brian Harple. Have him show proof positive that he was nowhere near that place. Not just some stubs of a plane ticket stubs, right? Shows proof positive. That's all we're asking. Again, Blackskate, again, thank you so much. There's entire channels dedicated to wives with knives type content So I really wish people would stop with all the hand wringing about questioning the wife. Yeah, I mean, I see your point there. Like I said, I don't know if Erica Kirk has anything to do with this, guys. I don't think that at all. There's nothing that shows, yeah, she's out here, like she's definitely pandering and grifting and all that stuff. No doubt. Okay. She's definitely going, buy his book, buy a t-shirt, buy his book. On this episode on Newsmax, we have the widow of Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk. He's just a good man. That stuff. We've already seen a lot of that. She's been over the last 3 months. I've seen her on more episodes of things on Fox News and Newsmax than I've ever seen her in my entire life. I didn't know who this woman was until Charlie Kirk lost his mother-loving life. I'm going to be real. But now I know every nook and cranny of her face. And that mascara. Oh, that mascara. I don't know what it is. It's like him, her, and JD Vance. They got the same, maybe it's Maybelline. It's crazy. But on some real stuff. Been seeing that. Seriously, if she walked down the street, I'm sure we all know. It'll be like, yep. And it won't be, oh, her blue eyes. It'd be the mascara. It'd be that eyeliner. We don't know. The smoky eye, because it's hella smoky. I get it. She's really making those eyes. She's trying to make sure those eyes really pop. You can just see them, right? You can't ignore them now. And I'm telling you right now, she is the most, right now at this point, aside from President Trump, she is the most recognized human being out here in these streets. Everybody now knows. Okay? Everybody knows her name. And I don't know why they're pushing so hard right now with her. But there's something bigger going on. And it may be her, maybe they're trying to get her to run for some political office. It's got to be. It's got to be. Something strange going on. Hollis, thank you so much for the love. Yes, I did get the DM, but I'm not going to watch it tonight because we're wrapping up the show. But I am going to take a listen to it when I get some time a little bit later. All right. But again, guys, like, can she even cook a meal? Not interested. Damn. I don't think she's even had time to do anything at home. And I don't mean that in the like, women should stay at home. Make me a sandwich. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't think she's been home long enough to even just wipe her own ass properly. Okay. She is always on a plane somewhere else, doing some other interview, doing some sort of thing. Buy the book, buy the book, buy the book. You know what I mean? Town hall meetings, town hall things, as if she's running for president. You know what I'm saying? Sheesh. My miracle mama, thank you so much for the love. Appreciate it. Just got here. Going back to the replay, but I had to say hi and happy new year. Happy near New Year. Love you. Love you too. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. But yeah, guys, it is all sus. Yeah, Black Skate, sus. It's all sus. It's all sus. But what I think somebody, I don't know who said it, but they had a very good point. If they have nothing to do with this at all, why aren't they going out of their way to make sure that they debunk the out of Candace Owens? That's exactly what they should be doing. They should be going out here and being like, okay, what Mitch said is a full fat ass lie. Brian Harple, we have him on the show. Go ahead and tell him where you were, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Debunk everything. Be done with it. She is still going ham sandwich on TPUSA and Erica Kirk. So you have the opportunity to clap back. What she's saying is a bold-faced lie, but they're just sitting there just letting it ruminate. Let it marinate. That makes no sense to me. I'd be clapping back so hard, so fast. Every show I'd be like, okay, Candace Owens once again lying. Here we are to debunk it all. Here is all the receipts. You see what I'm saying? But they're not doing that. They're Christian-y people? No. No. You can still be Christian and debunk BS. Isn't Christianity trying to find the truth? Yes. Trying to find the truth and only exposing the truth? So they need to get on the microphone and start talking. That's it. That's it. They need to stop. Shut the hell up with whatever the hell they're talking about, whatever talking points. I don't know. Whatever they're worried about, right? Midterm elections. The midterm elections. We're worried about that. Stop. And do a whole, you know what? They could do a whole segment. Debunking Candace. On today's segment of Debunking Candace, here it is, right? Here's that stuff, but they're not doing that. That's weird. That is weird. I think that's weird. If they have nothing to do with this, here's the other thing too, by the way. The only time that they actually gave a damn is when she said herself in a tweet, "Do not trust them. Take your money back." And they said, whoa. Now we need to talk about it. Now you're dipping into our pockets. We got problems with that. What? That's weird. The only time you gave a about any of this is when she said, hey, all you people that were giving and donating to them, ask for all your money back. That's the only time they said, oh, wait a sec. No, not now. Now you out of pocket, baby. Nah, man. You went straight for nah, man. Now we got to talk about it. So we're going to read this thing that we wrote just a second ago. What she said is wrong, and we're going to prove it all. And if Candace wants to meet us, join us in person, she's more than welcome to. If she wants to. I mean, come on, guys. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It is frustrating. So that is suspect to me. Black, thank you so much for the love. Erica said she too busy building a wall and stuff. You see, too busy building an empire. Yeah, and she's building it quickly. She's building it quickly. You know? Beautiful Messy Ball, thank you so much for being a member for the past, a whole year. Thank you so much. I had to dispute the charge of my shirts with the bank to get my money back for the order I never got. Damn, that's crazy. That you asked for a shirt, you wanted that freedom shirt. In fact, I saw one at the gym today. I was like, oh, there's one. I was like, oh, I've never seen one in person. So there was a guy wearing the shirt at the gym. I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. All right. There's the freedom shirt. But it's crazy that you ordered the freedom shirt and you never got it. That's weird. That's not a good look. Not the greatest look. I will tell you that. But guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It really means a lot. This was a big show. We do have some other conversations that we need to have. I was planning on doing it tonight, but I'm going to take some rest and try to get some of this cold out of my body. Okay. But I appreciate you rocking with me and just dealing with this stuffy nose and all that. I appreciate it. But please do me a favor before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Okay? Please and thank you. Yeah, the t-shirts do exist. I really did see one at the gym. I was like, oh, there they are. I just never seen one in person. But again, hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs. So make sure you hit that like button, reaction button, and follow on those platforms. Okay? Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel right here. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, and my third channel, Pascal Raw, and make sure you're subscribed to all of them. Hit that notification bell so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. That'd be greatly appreciated. Make sure you're subscribed, baby. Subscribe, all right? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. All right? Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Have a great rest of your night. Sleep well. And when we get more information, on this whole thing, when Candace does something else, we will talk about it for sure. And I'm sure the internet is still reacting to this live that she just did. So I'm sure there's going to be some updates tomorrow. All right. But we got some things to talk about tomorrow. If there aren't any breaking news, things that pop off, we still got to talk about Tyler Perry. Yeah, Tyler Perry is crazy in trouble again. So we got to talk about that before we ring in this new year. So anyway, we will be talking here very, very soon. Have a great rest of your night. Happy New Year's Eve. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, snap. I forgot about the poll. Thank you so much. The poll. One more thing. 79% of y'all out of 823 votes believe that she is on to something. Candace is on to something. That is crazy. Well, thank you so much for voting, and thank you so much for the reminder on the poll. Slipped my mind. But thank you guys so much, okay? I will be talking to you guys very soon. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.